Welcome to the AstraCAST. We are joined by real estate monster, Dave Haberfeld, here today. Really glad to have you on. For multiple years. Really glad to have you on. If you could tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the business, what's your specialty, and yeah.
Hey gentlemen, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. I always enjoy, sharing knowledge when I can. I've been an investor for 18 years this year.
Really?
Yeah. I started in the end of 06.
Okay.
Right before the crash.
Right before the crash.
I decided I wanted to be a landlord one day, and I met up with a friend of mine who, it was like my best friend in high school. And we had lost touch, but we reconnected through MySpace. I don't know if you guys are old enough to know what that is.
Yeah, it was phasing out at our time, yeah.
And so we got together and for some drinks at the bar and figured out we had the same dream. We wanted to be landlords and own property, and we had seen this massive run up. And we didn't know we were too late. We were kids.
Yeah.
And so we were obviously too late, but we did it. And through failing through the crash, I learned how to do it right.
Did you guys work together? You guys bought together?
So our idea was half the risk, half the reward, and two heads are better than one.
Gotcha.
You guys probably have something similar to that going on, right?
Yeah, it's the exact same mindset, yeah.
And so we bought 2-3 families, and he was going to live in the one, and then I was going to live in the other. And we'd have 4 units to rent out, and we would see where it goes from there. And this was like a bar napkin agreement at the bar when we met up, and we did it.
So you said you guys learned your lessons. You learned how to do it right. What went wrong?
Oh, well, I mean, so I envy so many new investors these days because you have so much information at your fingertips. I didn't know anyone who was a landlord. I just decided I want to be one. I didn't know what a mentor was. I didn't know what coaching was. I didn't know what a mastermind was.
Yeah.
I didn't know what CT RIA was. I didn't know what meetups were. I'm sure there were some, but I didn't know how to find any of that stuff. So I just fumbled through it all by myself.
Interesting.
And I didn't know how to calculate cash flow. That would have stopped me from buying anything, right off the bat.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I bought things, and at that time, prices were super high, and if you negotiated 5,000 off or 10,000 off, you did great, and you're like, sweet. And then if I had known how to calculate cash flow, I would have figured out that not only am I not profiting, but I'm probably losing $300, $400, $500, $600, $700 a month, and I have to work.
Jeez.
And I have to do the work of it. But I didn't know. I was like, the realtors at the time, she's actually passed away since, nicest lady. Peggy was like, oh, so this is what you do. You buy the place, and then you wait 6 months or 9 months or a year, and then you refinance and you pull profit out.
Ooh.
And that's what she told us to do because other people were doing it. She wasn't wrong. People were doing it.
Yeah.
But what a terrible idea, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that never would have flew with any experienced investors. She was a realtor, not an investor. So that is how I got into that mess. But the education is something that can never be taken from you. And you learn how to do it right. You learn how to calculate cash flow, and then all of a sudden it makes more sense. And even when you're starting, people still can't calculate cash flow. They think they can, but the mistakes are very common, but people do them anyway, even though they know about them. The rental market is super hot, so I'm going to use 5% vacancy instead of 10%. I just renovated my house, so I'm going to do 5% repair rate instead of 10%. Oh, I have a new roof, new siding, new furnace. I don't need CapEx, that kind of thing. Management. I'm gonna put in zero management because I'm managing it myself. That one's legitimate, but only as long as you understand and have your eyes open that you are working. You're working, and your time is not worth zero. It's worth more than zero. So putting 0% on it isn't honest, but I think that's how we all should start. But just be honest with yourself that you're working, and your time is worth something.
It's interesting. Gotcha. And I think he told it to Marcos too. He told me that recently. He's like, you notice we do like a lot of our own work. We never pay ourselves. And I was like, oh man, you're right.
Yeah, so in the beginning, that's okay. But at some point, years down the road, you guys have a long runway.
Yeah.
But one day you're going to be like, hey, I don't want to manage it myself, or I don't want to do my own work anymore. And you have to be able to replace yourselves and to grow. And also, you can only be in one place at a time, right?
Yeah.
So how many projects can you do if you're at the project? You can only do one at a time, right? Or you can do multiple at a time, but you only be in one place at a time. So, can you guys flip 10 houses at a time? Can you scale? If you're doing it yourself, you cannot.
We run out of resources. So we just pull from like our families.
That's
like,
how it starts. That's great. You know, I used to pull workers out of the local dive bar, like walking distance stuff from my house.
Really?
You know, after the first one, I used to go down to the bar, and I didn't know at the time. I'm like, you know, oh hey, you know, crackhead, can you like shovel that dirt? You know, and they would, you know, and I'd pay them. You know, nothing wrong with a crackhead earning his drug money, right?
Right, might as well. Everyone's got to eat. Everyone's got to get something.
Yeah, it's better than what they normally do, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely helping out the community. Do you still have that partner, or is you just like now you're all?
So, yes and no. So we are still great friends.
Yeah.
His name is Cyril.
Yeah.
And those two houses we are no longer partners on. Okay. One got foreclosed, and the other one was short sailed.
Gotcha.
Because it was we were not immune to the crash back then. And then we were not partners for quite a while.
Yeah.
And then we recently actually are partnered in an Airbnb. We have a small stake in an Airbnb. So I would say we are business partners. And, you know, more importantly, we're still friends, even though things went bad.
It's like, and a lot of people can't separate business from like friendships. We used to have a third partner. And so there's something similar, not something similar, but it was the issue with that was not being able to separate business and friendship. And it got a little hazy, got a little cloudy. So luckily we're still friends. But no longer in business together. But it got, for a while there, it was awkward.
You know, partnerships are something that you'll come across people who are like, don't get a partner, don't get a partner, don't get a partner. And so my philosophy on partners is don't get a partner unless you need a partner. Yeah. And so I commonly take on new partners. Every year I have new partners. So for example, you find a real estate deal and you're like, hey, David, I can't take it down on my own. You know, would you partner with me? And I'm going to say, no, I'll buy it from you though, if it's a deal. And so sometimes people are like, no, I really want to do it myself. I'd love to do it with you, but I don't want to just sell it to you. And so if you won't sell it to me, then we may be partners on that one deal. I've gotten lucky with partnerships in that I figured out early on that nobody's equal. There's no 50-50 down the line. You can split the money 50-50, but there's no work 50-50 partnerships. Yeah. It's not a thing. Someone will always work harder than the other one. And so you just have to define your roles, and you have to each be committed and do your share, do your part. Yep. And the farther removed the other person is, the better your partnership is likely to work out. Really? Honesty is like, of course, so important. And then of course, making sure that the dollars are counted correctly. So important. But a good example, a car dealership I had, I partnered with a mechanic. The mechanic did the service. I did the sales, and we split the utilities and the overhead down the middle. That's a great partnership. If he does an oil change and puts $20 in his pocket and doesn't report it, I don't care. He doesn't have to split it with me. He doesn't have to split any of that with me. That's why it's a great partnership. I don't care what he does. Yeah. He earns his own money. He keeps his own money. I earn my own money. I keep my own money. That's the structure for a great partnership. And so you can do similar things with real estate. In a real estate, like if you're flipping a house, right? If someone is the money person and someone is the contractor, that is weighed very much in favor of the person who has the money. Yeah. Right? Because the person who has the money can do that over and over again. The person who's doing the work has to be there. Right? But the person that's doing the work that has to be there, like that's how they want to start. I mean, that's a common way for people to start in real estate. Yeah. And so you got to let them. In that partnership, though, those partnerships, because I'm sure there's people out there listening that are there. They're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do the work. I'm going to manage the rehab. Someone else brings in the money. We're 50-50. Never get into a long partnership like that. That's an early partnership, because at some point you're going to realize, I don't need a partner. I need a lender. I just needed the money. You don't need a partner for money. You need a lender for money. Yeah. Sometimes you can't get it. So in the beginning you take a partner. But if you sign up for that and you do it your entire life, you'll have given away far too much.
So for someone starting out, you're more also saying that if you're going to form a partnership like that, don't give them half of your company unless you plan on making a different LLC for yourself down the line. You would just partner with them on the deal, 50-50. They provide the cash, you do the work, but you won't have to give up equity in your company for something that you want to do long term, because eventually you can have your own money that you can fund your own deals or find different lenders just for hard money, private money, stuff like that.
The best, probably the better way I can describe that is, don't agree to like a long thing. Like, hey, let's be partners forever, and you do all the work and I'll be the money guy. That isn't, it's not fair to you, and you don't realize it now, but you will later. You'll be like, wait a minute, this sucks. Years down the road. So don't get into a long partnership. Okay. And if you do create the company and you're 50-50, because you will be on an LLC that way, you can make another LLC and do other things. If you find and also you have to define where your partnership ends, right? If you have a relative who passes away and your parents inherit the house and they let you rehab it and flip it, do you have to share that with your partner? And like your parents will fund it even. Let's say you didn't need his money. You should know the answer to that before it happens.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you are 50-50 in everything, you're going to be just giving him free money for that, and it's money that he hasn't earned. But he would have to do the same thing. That's gonna strain a partnership because the partner really didn't have anything to do with that one. If you do something that's unrelated, right? Let's say you throw a couple cars on Turo, are you splitting it? And you're like, oh no, this is only a real estate partnership. Does the other partner understand and know that? You have to have these conversations up front.
Interesting.
You have to have very clearly defined boundaries and rules and responsibilities.
That makes sense. And I think that's where, some recent, we'll call them like friends, potential like partners might do something together. I think that's exactly where they're having problems. Is they're kind of actually it's 2 or 3 kids have kind of presented the idea of like, oh, let's all work together in some way.
Sounds great, right?
Yeah. Right. And
until you do it and you realize that you don't all have the same expectations.
That's the kicker. That's interesting.
Are they all friendly now?
Yeah, well, no, they're all good people. They still have their partnership. We still have ours, but it was more so like I think there was a little bit of tension with what one wanted to do and what the other wanted to do. But I think they worked it out.
I'm really good with partnership structure. If you guys, if they're having an issue, I'll work for dinner and drinks one night, and I'll help them structure their partnership over dinner.
That's a good deal. I'll relay the message because honestly, I think they're good, but I think there was some tension with what one was doing with like marketing, what one was doing with like the actual like acquiring like customers, or like clients for their business.
But then to like mix us in there, it's like, well, you're telling us each you want different things. Yeah, and so then
it was an interesting meeting. So we didn't never executed anything on it, but. Because we saw that early on, we had a coach who more so told us at the beginning that like a partnership is a marriage, and if you're gonna marry somebody, you got to be on the same page with everything. Like just this year, Marcos and I like really ironed out our roles. It's like what we're doing like for the company. Before we were like it was this
let's just work together.
Yeah, work together.
We could, like,
That's how it starts. Yeah.
And like for at least for me, I felt bad. Like say he was like doing like something, I was like, I'll be there with you. We'll work it out together. Marcos is really good at like renovations. The man worked on roofs. Like he's really good at this stuff. So I was like, no, I can help you out. He's like, no, trust me, I can do it. But I was like, no, I'll be right there. I'll help you out. But in reality, if I just let him do his thing, he could have got more done. He got his stuff done quicker. I could have got more deals on our plate, or like more stuff on our plate to take over.
If you're not the contractor, don't go over and help him swing a hammer. That's not your part of the partnership.
Exactly. It took like a year to realize like where we really fit into each other's thing.
With that third person, it was a little messy.
Oh, so
because like they couldn't help out much over here, but they couldn't help much over there, and then it was like, well, not holding us back.
Partnerships are something that you have to be very careful of. They're great when they're great, but they can go bad. Also, everyone knows horror stories of partnerships that went bad. Yeah. Lost friends. In
terms of partnerships, well, like moving past partnerships, you have your own thing now. So, what is your company? What is your focus for acquiring real estate? Do you do long term, short terms? What does that look like? How's it structured? Do you have like a team working for you? How does all that look?
All right, so I am a serial entrepreneur.
Yep.
I will look at anything, which has sometimes helped me and sometimes hurt me. So,
fair.
So I didn't know I was an entrepreneur when I was a kid, but I was always wired to be an entrepreneur. My family is not that entrepreneurial. I don't know where I got it from. Nobody recognized it in me and told me that's what it was. I just wasn't doing well in school, but I remember I would go to Costco as a kid and I'd buy the big blocks of gum. They used to be 25 cents at the gas station.
Yeah.
And I would sell them, the packs, for 25 cents at lunch, the same cost as a gas station.
Yeah.
And I'd sell, 10, 20, 30 packs every lunch. And I remember that it cost me 13 cents and I was making 12 cents a pack, which was a complete waste of time, but I didn't know it. I liked it. I was having fun. It's like the lemonade stand story. If you have a kid, if you come across a kid who's like, I want to do a lemonade stand. Can I do a lemonade stand? Can you help me? And they're motivated and it's their idea. And they do it. They are a born entrepreneur. Yeah. It's like a test.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of stuff and I still have a lot of stuff. So in real estate, I've been a landlord for 18 years. I started as a landlord.
Yeah.
during the crash, you couldn't flip through a crash. There's some people out there who disagree and say, "Oh, I flipped through a crash." I'm like, "No, not really. You didn't." There was no one to buy your product. There was no loans. Banks said, "We don't lend money anymore." For years.
Yeah.
And maybe they flipped some stuff for cash. Maybe they wholesaled a little bit. Landlords did fine. If you were buying properties, renovating it, and you were a landlord, that was fine. But I don't even know if you could refinance out during that time. And so it was like flipping a switch. It was 2014. 2014, banks started lending again. And I had a couple rentals that were like just huge headache level. They were in the hood in Waterbury, and they were a great deal when I bought them on paper, but what a mistake headache-wise. And so I was actually able to sell a property or two, and I got rid of a couple of my headaches. And I'm like, wow, that was so great. And then I'd look at a single family, which I would never consider for a rental, and be like, oh, I can fix this and sell it. Like I knew what flipping was by then, And so I started flipping in 2014. So I'm probably 250 or 260 deals in after 18 years.
Yeah.
In 2020, I started doing Airbnbs, short-term rentals.
Yep.
One of my mentors, Robin Thompson, for a couple of years had been like, I'm selling off my rentals or converting to Airbnbs, and she's like, I'm all in on it. And I don't even know why it took me so long, because anything that's good enough for Robin Thompson was good enough for me. But I was slow to pull the trigger because it's hard to figure out Airbnbs. It is not one of the more straightforward strategies. I mean, the strategy is, what it is, but how do you measure how much you're going to make? How many days on average are going to be rented? What is my nightly rate going to be? How am I going to put together the team? If you've never furnished a house from 0 to 100 and had to make it look nice, it is way more work than I thought it was. And anyone who has not done that, and most people have never done that, because they've moved in, they've got a few things from their family, and they pick up little things here and there, and they acquire it over time.
Yeah.
But if you're not acquiring it over time, and you need to take it from 0 to 100, it is hundreds of man hours for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath unit. Ask me how I know. And so Airbnbs, I started doing those in 2020. Luckily I only had one because the virus shut me down.
Yep.
I got nothing for it. And then Airbnb was screwing me. Airbnb is they are the best we have, but they are not reliable, and they are not in the favor of the host.
Gotcha.
Their policies, sometimes they don't even make sense.
Huh.
So, but I stuck with it.
Good to know. Yeah.
So I'm up to 10 now.
Okay.
And I did take on, I have 2 that you can have parties and events at. 99+% of Airbnbs do not allow events of any kind, do not allow more than 16 guests, stick with the rules of the platforms. But you have the option, you can allow it if you have a property that is conducive for that. And so I have 2.
And you have 2. Where are they?
So I have Serenity Woods in New Hartford. It's a log cabin in the middle of 62 acres.
Jeez.
It is. It's a big log cabin. It's 7,000 square feet.
Jeez.
It's got 2 acres of cleared, fenced-in yard with a pool, inside bar, outside bar, hot tub.
Weddings?
Yeah, I can have weddings there. So the way the ordinance works is I'm allowed to rent it as a short-term rental, as an Airbnb, and the guest is able to have a wedding there. But I can't commercially advertise it's a wedding venue because it's not. So that's the way the rules work.
Huh.
That's pretty. Asking for a friend.
So
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
No, I love having weddings there.
He's right on the corner.
The only thing is, I had an early party that was a problem. I didn't understand how far sound could travel, and I allowed a party that definitely disturbed the neighbors and was out of character for the neighborhood, and it riled them up. It was 20 months ago or so, and they still talk about it. But the property's been quiet as a mouse for 20 months. The neighbors are not all still thrilled that I exist, but it's been quiet. I put in new rules right away.
Yeah.
They actually make a decibel meter. So if there's any Airbnb hosts out there that are worried about parties and noise, you can take a decibel meter and mount it outside of your house onto a exterior wall or garage or onto your shed or something, and it's Wi-Fi connected. And so if it'll go over a certain decibel, it'll tell you, and you'll know that your house is making too much noise from your guests.
Really?
Yep. So it's a valuable tool. We're just playing with it now.
Yeah.
But if you're going to have honestly, I think almost everyone should have that, because Airbnb guests, most of them are great. They're just like tenants, and then some of them are not great.
Yeah.
Some of them think that they can have a party in a 1-bedroom, 3rd floor with close neighbors, and they're like, "Oh, let's have my party here." I'm like, "What are you thinking?
Why would you do that?
So that's the Airbnbs. I do construction, but we are winding it down. As the housing market got hotter, flipping becomes more dangerous, and a lot of guys don't agree with that either. But when the last housing market crash happened, it was pretty fast. And if you were flipping, say 5 houses at a time, and the housing market downturned and you got stuck with them, because again, there was no more lending at that time.
Yeah.
So there was no one to purchase your product. The losses on those 5 can wipe out the profits from the previous 25.
Yeah.
It was really bad for a lot of people. And so I cut back. My minimum target profit is higher. So now I'm not the highest bid on most houses, so I'm not getting that many. So I'm like, well, I can make less, but I can keep my guys busy and still make money by doing construction for others. And so we started that. And, I don't love it.
Interesting.
Materials and labor are the worst they've ever been in my lifetime.
Right.
And the headache level far exceeds the reward.
Yeah.
And we got caught up in the material fluctuations,
the
supply chain issues. We got caught up in that early on. And so we started off the bat in the red because we took some losses because we had quoted jobs, and then the prices went up on us.
almost doubled.
Yeah.
And it was, in hindsight, we shouldn't have eaten that. We should have gone to the client, but we were trying to we wanted to make a good name. We didn't want to piss off the clients, and we honored our prices, and that cost us. So we're winding that down. I would still take on a project here and there, but it's not my focus, and I don't love it. I don't advertise for it anymore.
Got you. Okay, so you're now. You're not really looking to do flips. Do you wholesale at all?
So I've wholesaled only a couple.
Okay.
I'm not much of a wholesaler.
That's fair.
So, but yeah, I'll still flip when one comes along. My best year I did 19, which was 2019.
Wow.
And then last year I did 5.
Okay.
So that's you can tell how much I've slowed down.
Got you.
The apartments at my peak, also 2019, I had 139 doors.
Oh wow.
And today I've got like 35.
Interesting. And those are all long terms.
All long terms, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So what made you sell off? What made you kind of like get rid of all the long terms and just go to like a short term portfolio and then like a couple of long terms just for steady cash flow? What made you switch up?
So the reason to sell off is because real estate is 100% undefeated as far as market cycling and, corrections happening.
Yep.
There are some people that say, oh, the market can't correct because the supply is too low and the demand is so high and this and that. And it's not true. History is 100% undefeated. So if you tell me, the people that I tell that to, they're like, oh, okay, well, I guess that makes sense. But I think we're going to come in for a soft landing this time. And I say the United States of America doesn't do soft landings. We are a pendulum. We go from one extreme to the other, and we are at the extreme on the other side. And I can't tell you how it crashes or what the trigger is, but I can tell you it doesn't stay here because I refuse to believe that this is the first time in history that real estate goes up forever.
Makes sense.
Interesting. And what do you think the time frame of that would be?
No, that's a tough one.
No one knows.
My crystal ball doesn't work that well. Honestly, there's no sign of it slowing down.
Yeah.
I know it does just because history says so. I would be surprised to see a crash this year. It's not impossible. I don't know what causes it, but it's the demand again is so strong and the supply is so low. I'd be surprised to see a crash this year.
Yeah.
And also, the government has the ability to falsely prop up markets in election years. If you've never seen the movie The Big Short, they explain how they do that. Big Short's a fantastic movie that every investor should see. And they show how banking and government can fraudulently prop up markets and pretend they're okay when they know they're not, and make changes and then let everybody throw everybody to the wolves after that.
Yeah. Huh.
Yep.
I never thought of it like that. So
Have you guys seen The Big Short?
I've seen like clips. Yeah, I've seen clips.
Oh, okay.
So
that's important. Make sure you guys see that movie. It'll change your mind about how you feel about this hot market.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll watch it tonight or tomorrow.
Watch it tonight or tomorrow.
Sense,
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll make sure we sit through it with me.
Yep, that's the only movie recommendation I'm going to give today.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. You got any
It's a
more?
great one.
Any others any other big ones? Do you know of?
Yeah, as far as movies?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some other ones that you can watch about stuff, but the Big Short is the one to see
the
for
Right.
the people that think that the market goes up forever.
Okay.
The Big Short is the one.
Got you.
It doesn't. And most investors that you see, because remember, I got in 06. The market started crashing in 07 into 08. So that's 16 years. So most investors that most people listening to this are too young to have been through the last crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So almost every investor you work with and that you talk to has only seen this their entire investment lives.
Yeah.
They've never seen this. And so some of them are probably prepared and some of them are not. Most of them are not.
Yeah.
The people that have rentals that cash flow, those hold strong during a recession. Those guys are going to be okay. But they have to really be cash flowing. They can't have 5% vacancy and 5% repair. People lose jobs. People stop paying their rent.
That's the kicker. That's the kicker. So you think people who just do like flipping for like their business in the next couple of years, when this when it does like go down, you think their business is going to be wiped out because they don't have any like long-term cash flow?
That are flipping?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends what they did with it, right? So what is your overhead? If your lifestyle requires, $250,000 for you to survive every year, and you're flipping at $300,000 now, and the extra 50 you're wasting on stuff, and you don't have any other investments to fall back. If the flipping business goes below 250, your life is like, oh, I have to reduce something, right?
Yeah, you're beat.
It doesn't mean that they're going to like go out of business, but I mean, people reduce lifestyle, they cut back. They'll probably do less flips. I'm pretty sure that we've learned that we can't stop lending. I don't think they'll do that. I don't think the government will allow the banks to stop lending like last time. So as long as there are loans, there will be a customer for your product somehow. No matter what happens, someone will be able to buy as long as they're lending. So, I mean, flippers will, again, it's hard to predict and not hard, impossible to predict.
Yeah.
And so if you're flipping and you're making money and it's working, I would say, continue on, keep doing it, but just, make sure your margins are thick enough. Don't flip for a $10,000 profit.
Yeah.
You are one on top of being one mistake away from being negative.
Yeah.
I mean, if the market downturns a little bit, you're caught up in that. Yeah. You have to have fat margins. I won't look at a flip unless I can target 50,000 net profit. That's my minimum threshold. Now it used to be 30.
Yeah. 50 smart. Right now we're doing an innovation in Windsor. And the reason the guy wanted originally, he wanted just us to close it. But like my fear would be, I'm not extremely confident on the price. I'm confident on the price. I'm real estate life, so I look at comps and everything like on the MLS. I'm confident on the price, but I'm not confident in just a couple aspects of it. So we're putting a little bit of cash into it. It only needs like $10,000. But so we're gonna be all at 276 buy price, all in for 10. So say round up 290. And then we have an agent who listed for 1%, 2.5 hours, 3.5% of closing costs. I think it gets sell for 350. Okay. So, but would never take title, because if we take title after your buy, hold, sell, we'd only make like 20 grand, if that. And there's no cushion. So if I mess something up, or if it doesn't sell for that 350, which it may or may not. I mean, it's a nice street of Windsor, but like, it's a Cape, and I don't know.
That sounds like a good deal though. And your risk the reason that that's very smart is because what's your total risk? Your total risk is 10 grand.
It's 10 grand. Yeah, exactly. So that's much more comfortable than.
And I mean, maybe it's a lot of money, but it's not going to change your life if it doesn't go well.
Exactly. And then we're not stuck with something that we're going to lose money on when we sell it. So you'd rather it's a 10. And this dude like goes creative deals than like actually take title. If we take title, I'm like I'll tell Marcos, I'm very particular. Like, it has to be like check every box. But prefer off market, because if you're bidding on market, you just have a million people competing with you.
So on market, I always feel bad when someone's like, I got the house. Back in the day, someone gets their offer accepted on the MLS and you're like, congratulations. And today, if you're a homeowner, this does not apply to you. Homeowner, you're going to live there. That's cool.
Yeah.
But as an investor, if you're like, oh, I was the high bidder, there was 20 offers and they chose mine and I'm going to flip this house. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Right.
Because you overpaid. Yeah. I don't even need to know any numbers. Yeah. If you were the highest offer out of 20 or 10 or 5, you overpaid. Mm-hmm. You overpaid. It's not, you cannot bid on properties on the MLS unless you have some kind of insider knowledge. Mm-hmm. I'll give you a good example of this. I don't mind sharing this. So the online auctions.
Yep.
Will have they've foreclosed, but they haven't evicted the people yet, and they still live there. So the former owners still live there. Yeah. And it says, "Do not trespass. Do not knock on the door." Yeah. So if you're interested in one of those properties, go knock on the door. Mm-hmm. Just because it says not to on the website, it's not trespassing. They claim it's trespassing. Yeah. But the tenant. The former owner is now the tenant. The tenant has control of the property. Mm-hmm. Only the tenant can accuse you of trespassing. Yeah. And so I can go knock on the door, and I always bring a pretty girl with me. Yeah. And I do that because it's much more disarming. A guy shows up, and who are you? What are you doing here? Am I dangerous? Right? But you bring a pretty girl with you, and they're much more like, oh, can I help you? Yeah. Knock on the door, super nice. Hey, I'm sorry, I saw your house on the internet, and I just wanted to stop by, and I was considering bidding on it, but I wanted to ask you if if you plan to stay or go, if you had any plan, or maybe there's some way I can help you. And 3 out of 4 times I get the tour, and now I know my interior renovation costs, and other people don't. That's when it's okay to bid and be the highest bidder if you know what's inside, and other people don't.
That's really smart.
Yeah.
So how many of you do you buy on auction.com? I've heard like mixed things about it.
I've done like 5 or 6.
Okay.
So I have.
Interesting. Interesting.
I did a great one at 298 Stevens Street.
Yeah.
That way.
Bristol?
Amazing yard, Bristol. Yeah. Yep. Knocked on the door. Brought Lindsay, who works for me in the office, and got the tour. And the people in the house, they didn't have a plan, and they had just fallen on hard times, and they weren't like bad people. They just couldn't. They had lost jobs at the same time, 2 of them, but they were working now, but they couldn't catch up. I actually took them as tenants. They still live in my house.
Really?
So to get them out of the house, I rented to them. And that's how I got them out. And then I was easy in. As soon as I closed, I was in, and I was renovating.
Yeah.
It worked out great.
Smart.
That's not going to work all the time because a lot of people can't. But remember, people that lose their house to foreclosure, at one time they qualified for a mortgage. They probably, hopefully, treated their house pretty decent because they're used to owning it. People that get foreclosed on, they make great tenants. Not just, even though their credit's bad, they make great tenants in my experience.
Yeah. Interesting. So that's pretty cool. So now, in your experience, is it possible to bid on something with, even if it's an auction, is it possible to stop an auction and close with the seller directly? So I know with Freedom, we did a few where we were able to stop the auction, but I'm not sure how that works. We use an attorney, Joe Mazzucaro.
I use Joe. Actually, Luke gave me Joe when my attorney passed away.
Really?
Yeah, I've been using him since. Joe's been excellent.
Joe's great. He's like, that man's wound tighter than like a band of rubber, like a ball of rubber bands. But he gets it done. So I don't know how he's able to stop these foreclosures. But have you been able to stop a foreclosure?
I never asked him, so I've only been using him. It was January 21, so I've been using him 3 years.
Okay.
And I haven't asked him to do that before, so I didn't know actually.
I don't know if I don't know if it's like a thing. I know there's been stuff going to auctions, and then we were able to either wholesale or close it before it gets put into the auction.
Yeah.
I know Luke knows the way. We were trying to do a deal in I think it was.
Well, if it's on auction.com, I've never asked him to not. But if it's like pre-foreclosure, sure, then
Okay, maybe that's what it is.
Pre-foreclosure, someone who's not paying their mortgage, they filed foreclosure, but the foreclosure hasn't gone through yet. Those are often opportunities.
Okay.
Those are great ones to look at and pursue.
Got you. Maybe that's what it was. I know there's a few that were able to turn them quick.
Yeah. Sometimes you can cure the mortgage. Sometimes you can short sale them to yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can, sometimes you just buy them, but they're not listed because the owner doesn't have any hope, doesn't have any plan.
Yeah.
They're off market.
Interesting. Okay, so there, example for you. So there was one on Charles Street. We did 23 Charles. There was a tree on the guy's house. We had I had to knock on his dad's door to find him. The guy didn't have a phone, so we communicated via iMessage. It's a crazy deal. But we closed the day before the auction was going to happen because he had $50,000 in back taxes. They were there was liens all over his house. And the house was condemned because almost condemned. There was a tree on it and mold inside of it. We still got the deal done, but he was able to stop the auction before because it was an auction because of the tax. So the town was auctioning.
Okay, so that's different.
Yeah.
So the auction, there was a sign in the yard, that kind of auction.
So it was I don't think there was a sign in the yard, but we found out there was a lawyer involved. I guess Joe found out there was a lawyer involved, and they were taking it to auction because he had all these liens. So I don't know, maybe someone removed the sign or he removed the sign because the guy was kind of weird. But
so foreclosure auctions are the ones with the signs out front.
Yeah.
Tax auctions, I think they put the signs out front. I can't remember actually. But those auctions, the auctions that happen on a Saturday with the lawn sign, those are never worth going to. People are always like, "Hey man, I saw a foreclosure sign," and they're like, there's an auction, you want to go check it out, and I'm like, "Nah, I'm gonna sleep in that day."
Yeah, right. It's
because they're not real auctions. I don't even know why they call them auctions.
Yeah.
The bank puts out the full amount they're owed as their minimum bid. So if a house is worth 150 and they are owed 150, the bank bids 150, leaving no profit. If there was equity in the house, 99% of the time, the owner would list it for sale instead of letting himself getting foreclosed. That's why none of those are deals. Almost none. I mean, you might find one here and there. You hear a story where, I went to the auction on Saturday and I bid and I won and I got a good deal. It just doesn't happen. It's just not. It's not worth the effort. You'd have to go to 100 of those auctions to get one. So skip them. The tax auctions are different. If you can, some towns sell their tax liens. Yeah. Which is a strategy that that's worked forever and ever. And if they're actually forcing the property to sell, I mean, that could be worth looking into. But the tax liens come before the mortgage lien. So you got to make sure, like, can I get rid of the mortgage? Do I have to pay the mortgage? You have to make sure you know what you're doing and be careful in those.
Got you. Okay. That's a nugget. I did not even think of that. So you see, there was one on East Road, down the road.
With the sign up front?
Yeah, the sign up. You saw it?
No. So when the auction, you should go to one for the experience of it.
Yeah.
Right, and even whether you bring the check or not, they always say bring a check for $19,600 in certified funds, and whether or not you plan to bid and go there, and you'll be like, oh, this house is worth 150, and I'm going to put 50 into it, and I'll sell it for 250, and then you'll be the only guy there.
Yeah.
And the court staff person there will be like, all right, opening bid is $295. They're like $295,000. It's not worth that even fixed.
Yeah.
And she's like, sorry, that's the opening bid. That's what the bank's, bid was.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is this? And that's when you figure out that it's just not a real auction.
So banks bid on their own property to drive bids.
Banks bid on their own property to protect their lien. It's like, I think they have to. It's some kind of it's probably a statute or something.
Interesting.
So instead of sending someone to the house to look at it and say, hey, this house is only worth this much.
Yeah.
We're going to lose on it. We should encourage a short sale, or we should bid a lower amount and hope an investor buys it. Instead, they buy it themselves at auction, and then they end up with it, and then they kick out the person, and then they relist it for sale. And you're buying that's on a bank-owned foreclosure. So if it's worth 150, and they bid 295 because that's what was owed, or I just making these numbers up. Once they get it, they send out a realtor to do a BPO, assess the value. Yeah. Give it a little appraisal, and they're like, "Oh, it's worth 150," and then they list it on the MLS for 150. But why would you bid the 295 in the first place? All the extra legal costs, all the extra months and time, taxes and insurance never stop. Every day you own it, you're losing taxes and insurance. It's extremely inefficient by the banking industry.
Interesting.
I'm assuming they have to do it that way. I just don't know why.
It's some law from the 40s that's stuck around for all these years. So, I don't know. That's interesting.
If it's not a rule or a law, it's a stupid tradition, and some banker should figure it out and change it.
Airbnb stories you mentioned, you said you had not too long ago. What have been some of the craziest Airbnb stories? I'm going to jump into this for a bit.
I mean, so they don't all always have to be good. They don't all have to be bad, right? So I mean, I've had a good experience. Airbnb, I'm a fan of the model. You are mostly protected from the insane tenant laws that Connecticut's putting out. Most of mine are in Connecticut, 9 out of 10. This one time, we have these guests in. I have one next to Mohegan Sun. It's a big one, 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 7 minutes from Mohegan.
Oh, cool.
And
That's
so it's rented, and there's a problem with a toilet, like a toilet's clogged or something. And so we send down my handyman, and he messages me afterwards, and he's like, "Hey man, was that a test?" And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And he's like, was that a test? And I'm like, and he's laughing. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Did you fix it? And he's like, well, yeah, but there were 20 beautiful college girls in there. And he's like, I didn't want to leave. If there's anything broken, send me back, And then there was another one, just a funny one. There was some young girl that was in one of our units. She didn't realize you couldn't toast cheese pizza. She put cheese pizza in a toaster and ruined it. And it's just things like, I'm like, I don't know if you'd never had a toaster as a kid, but odd things.
Interesting.
I had one girl not leave when she was supposed to. This was an insurance claim. So they were with me for a long time. The grandmother owned the house. The grandmother has the granddaughter and a grandson, and there's, a few of them in there. So when the new house is finally rebuilt and fixed up, they have an end date. And there's a week of overlap, and the grandmother leaves, but there's a week left. And the granddaughter decides that she doesn't want to go live with her grandmother anymore, and she just stays in the house. And we had to threaten her. We had to threaten her and threaten her. She was crazy and crazy dumb. We called the cops on her, and she called the cops on us before the cops came. So what it was is the furniture was all rented.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They took the furniture that wasn't rented. The furniture that was rented, the insurance company said, hey, can you let in the furniture company to pick up the stuff? And so at their instructions, we let them in.
Yeah.
And then the girl's like, well, I still lived here and I wasn't done with it. And she called the cops on us. We let them in. And so my office manager was all freaked out. Yeah. And I'm like, listen, we're fine. Don't worry about a thing. like, happy to talk to the cops.
Yeah.
The girl, she did finally leave. We got her out like 11 hours late. A lot of threatening involved.
Jeez.
But she was out, and that was probably the worst as far as getting someone out that I've had so far. I've never had anyone try to squat. The reason that Airbnbs, because everyone's like, what if someone stays longer than 30 days, establishes residency, and you have to evict them? They don't pay. It can happen. There are stories of it happening, but it's extremely rare. And the reason it's extremely rare is because deadbeat squatters that won't pay can't come up with the first month to pay up front for an Airbnb. Gotcha. If you're 100 a night, that's $3,000.
Yeah.
So crackheads and squatters and people that are just bad tenants, they don't have $3,000.
Huh?
They can't get in.
That makes sense.
So that's why it's such a rare thing to happen. But it is a real thing.
Interesting.
I got really lucky with a work crew one time. They're from New Jersey. I don't even know if they speak any English, but the guy who rented my place speaks English. I allow it to sublet to work crews.
Yep.
And so he needed a place for 6 months, and I was just about to list this house for sale, and I was full on my other ones. He had rented from me in the past, and I'm like, hey man, I'm sorry, I don't have anything at the moment. And he's like, oh really, you don't have anything? Anything coming up really, really soon? I got to get these guys back up there. And I'm like, well, I have this house over here, but I was just about to list it. It doesn't have any furniture. Yeah. And he's like, oh, hold on, let me call you back. And so he asked his guys, and his guys say they'll bring up whatever they need. And he's like, I'll take it. And so I give him the place for 6 months, and he's like 21 months into his 6-month contract there. Yeah. He's just been, it's a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, and he's been paying $2,700 a month for.
Jeez.
For
where's this?
In Bristol.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So he went from a short term to a long term, like almost 2-year tenant.
Yeah. So I still consider it short term because there's no end. It's flexible housing, so it's kind of like misnamed. There's a lot of misnaming in the industry, right? Yeah. What is short term? Short term, the definition changes town to town. To me, short term is anything less than 1 year. But there are other towns that are like short term is less than 30 days. Short term is. There's Jacksonville, Florida. There's an HOA that says short term is less than 7 months. Huh. And I'm like, I don't know what you were smoking, but why not 6 months? Why not 8 months? Why 7?
They had to be different. They're Florida.
Yeah. Did you roll 2 dice together and it rolled 7, and that's how you decided? Yeah. 7. There's no logical explanation for 7 months, but. And then midterm is commonly referred to anything that's more than 30 days, less than a year. And then, short term is definitely anything under 30 days, but I call everything short term. Interesting. So flexible housing, I still consider everything short term.
Okay. So how many short terms do you own in Bristol?
4.
Interesting. And so I know Bristol has like the 30-day, you can't rent it for less. So do you rent to I know we have Bristol Hospital, you have travel nurses. What's your primary clientele? And would you suggest picking up more short terms over here because of the hospital, because of ESP and stuff like that?
So Bristol, it doesn't address short-term rentals yet. They're actually working on this now, Bristol zoning. So, but Bristol took the stance that if it's not explicitly allowed, then it's not allowed. Yeah. So month-to-month leases are illegal everywhere. Any town that's going to say, oh, well, you can't rent on Airbnb, it's a ban. They're open to a lawsuit, and they'll be defeated in a lawsuit. It's under 30 days where you can regulate, because a month-to-month lease is something that has been legal everywhere for forever. If you're trying to take on a month-to-month lease, it's a losing battle for any municipality. Yeah. So below that, Bristol doesn't allow it. Yeah. So I set my limits to 30 days, and I'm fine. Okay. Travel nursing in particular is a declining market. Travel nursing peaked during the virus. Yep. Every week, there are less travel nurses than the week before. And the reason is because they're unaffordable to hospitals. Travel nurses are, they commonly make $250,000 a year. I once saw a $13,000 a week contract in San Diego, because I'm on some of those Facebook groups. Yeah. $13,000 a week. It was for 80 hours a week. Jeez. For 13 weeks.
80 hours a week?
Yeah, 13,000, 80 hours a week, 13-week contract, San Diego. That was the most expensive one I ever saw. But I get them in all the time. They make $5,000 a week, $250,000 all the time. Wow. So I rented them, but I wouldn't open another one. I opened one during a good time, before the virus, actually. Yep. And it's been going great. Full right now, but it's a lot of people got in on the travel nurse thing. I don't want to say it's saturated. Yeah. Maybe a little bit, but there's less and less of them. It's a declining market.
Gotcha. That's interesting. Okay.
ESPN hires, if you can figure out how to cater to them. Yeah. I think that's a good business, but I've never been able to figure how to cater to ESPN employees with contracts. ESPN tells their employees, do not rent in Bristol. They just tell them to their face, do not rent in Bristol. They say, go rent in West Hartford, Southington, Plainville. I don't know. ESPN, since before I moved to town, has always told people, because I was always seeking out ESPN employees, and I've gotten a few, but only a few. And every one of them is like, oh yeah, they told me not to rent in Bristol, but I mean, I like it fine. And I'm like, really? They say that? And I've heard it too many times for it not to be true.
They tell you to go to West Hartford?
They tell you to go to West Hartford. They tell you to go elsewhere.
You want them to...
They tell you Plainville, Southington. They say don't rent in Bristol. Whatever it is, ESPN, whoever gives them advice on housing tells them not to come to Bristol.
They like the flat land for their big facility, but they don't like to have people live here or something like that.
I don't know what it is. I would love for someone to tell me why that is, but it's almost like tradition now. I mean, I've been in Bristol since 2007, so that's 17 years.
Yeah.
And they tell you not to. So catering to ESPN is a good model if you can figure it out.
Interesting.
ESPN has an internal bulletin board, by the way, for those guys that don't know, where you can post up like apartments or looking for a roommate, something like that. So you have to have someone on the inside that can post those things for you.
Interesting.
So, but you can do that.
If you were to pick up something, like, what's your thought process? How do you determine, what?
For an Airbnb?
Yeah.
So the first one, I just knew I wanted to get one, and I didn't want to go outside of where I could manage it.
Yeah.
So I looked at Connecticut, and I was thinking tourism, right? I was thinking at that time when I was starting out, I thought it had to have tourism. So there's only 2 areas of Connecticut that get tourism, and it's the Gold Coast near New York, and it's near the casinos. Those are the only 2 areas. And so by the Gold Coast, it's too expensive to play ball. The cost of entry is much higher. But by the casinos, Norwich is a very depressed city.
Yeah.
As far as property values go, honestly, Airbnb is probably one of the best things that could have happened in Norwich as far as housing prices. But Norwich is even fighting. Norwich changed it and they tried to ban it. So they're one of the ones that are open to a lawsuit. I asked permission, by the way, and at the time they said, "Oh, we don't have any restrictions." So I opened one, and then they sent a letter later saying you can't do it. They sent a letter to every Airbnb owner. And as far as I know, I think we all ignored it.
You still own a few in Norwich?
I own one, yeah.
Okay.
But so people ask me all the time, would you want to do this house in Norwich? It's a good Airbnb. It's close to the casino. And I say, no, I'm not. I would never willingly try to do an Airbnb in a town that doesn't allow it or would fight against me. Why wouldn't you just go to a town that does allow them?
Yeah.
Why take that added risk?
Interesting.
So, so the first one was by the casino, and then the virus happened, and so during the virus, in the infinite wisdom of our fearless leader, Ned Lamont, he not only did he extend the eviction moratorium after he knew it was illegal, after even Biden gave up on it, he went on television one time and said, if you can't pay your rent, don't worry about it, just stay safe. He said it in a press conference. He has done more damage than anyone in the history of Connecticut to the Connecticut housing market, to my knowledge. Yeah. And so landlords, many of us, we stopped renting. So there was a housing shortage. People can't find apartments, and we're leaving them empty. It was terrible. It was terrible. I know that people need to live in the units that I have, but it is too dangerous for me to let anyone in. Because the governor said if you make a bad call, no one has to pay you any rent. There's no rules. You can't evict. I will interfere with your contracts and change them any which way I want, even though they're signed.
Right.
And he got away with all of this. It was illegal, and he got away with it. And so I took units and filled them full of furniture and put them on Airbnb in areas with zero tourism, like Bristol. Yeah. And honestly, it's been going pretty decent.
Interesting.
It's been going pretty decent,
So that protects you. So you heard about the there's a new law they're trying to pass for Connecticut landlords. It says after a tenant's lease expires, they can stay without the landlord asking them to leave, or even if the landlord chooses not to renew. So you're protected from that. But what is your thoughts on that law?
Sure. So that it's illegal. It's open to a lawsuit again. But again, someone has to pay for the lawsuit. Someone has to beat them. That is completely illegal. Yeah. So if you and I have an agreement for a year, right? You're going to live in my apartment for a year. After the lease is up and the contract is over and expired, as the landlord, what do I owe you? I don't owe you anything according to the contract, right? The contract is expired.
done.
It probably says in the contract that, 30 days prior to the contract, I have to give you notice if I want to renew or notice if I want you to vacate. It probably says something like that. But at the end, if I've asked you to vacate, I don't owe you. You don't have the right to stay in my home. Personal property rights dictate that I am the owner and I can decide if I want you to stay or not stay. And so the government in Connecticut is trying to take that away and say that that you can stay as long as you want, as long as you're paying rent. You do have to pay rent. And I cannot evict you for lapse of time. That's what that's called, lapse of time. So imagine I buy a house for, and I'm I have it 10 years. You've been a great tenant. You've paid your rent every month and everything's good. And I decide that it's the right time for me to sell. The market is high. I need the money for something else I want to do. I want to retire, move out of state, whatever it is. It's the right time to sell. And I say, Marcos, you've been a great tenant. I'm going to give you 30 days notice. Maybe I even give you 60 days notice. I'm going to sell the house. I'm really sorry. Thank you for being a great tenant. That is my right to be able to do that. And the government says, no, it's not. They're trying to say, no, it's not. And you say, well, I've been here a lot of years and I really like it here. I'm sorry, David, I'm not leaving. The law would be on your side if this insane rule happens. The government is forcing me to not sell my house. And they'll lie and say that they're not, because they'll say, oh, well, you can sell it with the tenant in it. No, you can't. You can't.
No,
who's going to buy it? No family is going to buy a house they can't move into.
Right.
So the government is in some instances will be forcing people to keep houses that they want to sell. It is completely illegal. Related to that, the Property Owners Defense League has a fundraiser on this Thursday, March 7th. It's at my cabin. It is $125 donation. I've donated the cabin for the night.
Yeah.
Food and refreshments are served. There'll be speakers and politicians that are pro-housing.
Yep.
And, fighting against this. Definitely recommend you come.
Really?
It'll be a good networking opportunity.
You said it's this Thursday?
It's this Thursday.
What time? What's the address for that cabin?
I'll give it to you after, so I don't
cool.
put it on the internet,
Okay, gotcha. Yes, that's
Yeah.
smart. Okay, so all this
Cool.
Yeah, but it's 5:30 to 8. And you guys can hang out later if you want. I'll be staying there later. But if you have any friends that believe in property rights, that's the place to go. I call it pro-housing and anti-housing. Pro-housing is good for tenants and good for landlords.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anti-housing is bad for tenants, bad for landlords. And so the ones at the Capitol today that are trying to say that lapse of time is good for tenants, it's not. It is bad for tenants. Like we're not going to take chances on people. Like we're not. And also, no landlord, it eliminates the need for a year lease. If you take away lapse of time eviction ability, why would you sign a year lease? Is there any reason?
There's no. You can just go month to month at that point.
Because the tenant can leave whenever they want, right? They can just there's no penalty for them. I mean, I suppose you can say, oh, well, if they leave early, you can take their security, but the tenants barely listen anyway. It's mostly to lock in the landlord. So if I make every lease, which I would, month to month from here on out, I can raise your rent anytime I want. I can raise your rent in January, and then I can raise your rent again in February, and I can raise your rent again in March, like if I chose to.
Right.
Tenants want the stability of a year lease because you can't raise rent in the middle of a lease. And at least they know for 1 year what their rent is going to be. I don't think the Democrats thought this through. In fact, I know they haven't, because I mean, landlords, they can just raise the rent whenever they want in a month-to-month lease. You just need 30 days notice.
Exactly. And technically speaking, since it's not a year lease, that lapse of time doesn't it wouldn't be valid for that rule or that law, because they're on a month-to-month lease and there's no actual contract besides for that 1 month.
Yeah. Well, I mean, lapse of time, so with the month-to-month, I can't kick them out at all.
Yeah.
But I can just keep raising the rent every month if I wanted.
It's smart. Huh.
I mean,
they'll have to find somewhere else.
are you trying to, are you trying to help tenants or are you trying to hurt tenants, right? And the answer is we should be trying to help tenants.
Trying to save elections.
Yeah.
Because we need tenants as landlords. And what's good for tenants is often good for landlords. We coincide more than we don't. We all want housing to be affordable, because if it's not affordable, tenants can't pay it, and we have to evict them or we don't get paid. Right? We want it to be affordable. Lower our taxes and we'd lower our rents, right?
Yeah.
If there was and reintroduce the free market, which has been, mostly taken away from us, right?
Yeah, right.
People are like, oh, greedy landlords. You hear this all the time, right? And I'm like, do you know how the housing market, how market rate is set. Landlords don't set market rate, right? If I, this house here, right? Let's say it's worth, $1,800 a month to rent, or something like that. What in a normal market, what would happen if you put it up for $2,600 a month? It would stay empty, right?
Yeah.
Because you asked for too much money. That's the free market. Anyone who is interested in a house like this, they're going to go rent someone else's house that is $1,800, which is market rent. And so these days, they have made it so that the market rent is high, and landlords keep creeping it up, and they're asking for what they can.
Yeah.
But the remedy is to have more housing, require less housing units, and so that there's empty units, so that people can go and go to a different place. Like, oh man, 2,600 is too much for this place. I'm going to go to another one. But people lack the choice right now. There's not a lot of choices out there. And it's a huge problem, and there's lots of contributors to it. Airbnb is actually one of them, right? Those 4 units in Bristol, families cannot live in my Airbnbs. I mean, should I feel bad about that? And the answer is no. I do want everyone to have a place to live, but the governor said to me, they don't have to pay rent if they rent your place. And so why am I going to go after regular tenants there? He maybe a couple other words, but he basically instructed me to take my units offline and not rent to tenants. There are lots of landlords who feel the same way. If the landlord laws in Connecticut, I can't speak for everywhere, but in Connecticut, were to reverse, and evictions were easy and cheap, and the tenant laws were fair. We're not even asking for landlord friendly. We're asking for fair. Lots of Airbnb owners would bring their units back to the long-term market and receive less rent for it, because Airbnb is probably like 7 or 8 times the work of a long-term unit.
Fair. Yeah.
Not everybody wants to do it. And it's a hospitality business. It's not just a real estate business, I'm answering questions on Airbnb, and I'm like, oh, have a great time. Here's a referral to a restaurant that I like.
Yeah.
And, sure, you can have late checkout in the morning, and, those kind of things. It's a hospitality business.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to do that. People wanted real estate investments when they started this.
Yeah. It's a lot more work. And you said you have a team in place. What's your team look like for your Airbnbs and your structure? Is it a big team, small team, like in-house? What's it look
So
like?
at this moment, I have a full-time admin bookkeeper.
Yep.
I have a part-time, I'll call her office manager at the front desk. She's there 10 to 2:30, 4 days a week. She's filling in while our kids are in school. And then my daughter has started working for me, and she's actually been handling the Airbnbs most of the semester. We've been doing it together.
Gotcha.
Just because she doesn't know the customer service level of talking back and forth. So I write a lot of the stuff myself, but she's learning it and doing better every day.
Good.
Gotcha.
So that's my team, other than subs.
What else is she a part of? She's involved with that, but like
My daughter?
We see you take her almost everywhere. It seems
Yeah.
like.
Every time an event.
So one thing that I've done very well is better than anyone else that I know, is I have exposed to my daughter what is possible in the world. So when my daughter, was, I don't know, 14, we'll say, I was dragging her around to these things, and I wanted her to see them. And I'm like, if she retains 5% of what she heard tonight, that's a win.
That's a win.
Right. And I mean, and 5% was probably about where it was. So, but as time goes on, she's seen the same people, and she sees other people excited about stuff, and she hears about money. And when she gets older, she decides, I'd like to have some money. And, she knows, a lot about what is possible in real estate and other businesses, Airbnb. And I have a car dealership and a pawn shop and a marijuana grow operation and all these different businesses, Turo, and she knows what they are. She has a general idea of how they work, and she knows that they're possible. Like a lot of other kids, how many people graduated last June in her class that don't know anything other than I have to go out and get a job now, or college and then a job? Most of them, right? The majority of high school kids graduate and they're like, I'm going to get a job, or I'm going to college and then get a job. They're not thinking about real estate investment. They're not thinking about opening their own business. There's always some, but not the majority.
It's interesting. So you started exposing her to this from a young age. Did she grow up with it? Like, or when did you start getting her like more like involved in your business?
I mean, I've been dragging her around semi regularly. It was always fun for me, and I tried to bring her. I think she probably, I don't want to say resents, but she didn't always love coming, and sometimes she'll go back and forth. Monday, she'll be like, Dad, can I come to this real estate thing with you? And I'm like, yes, that'd be great. And then like there's another one on Wednesday, and she'll be like, oh, Dad, no, I don't want to go to that. And I'm like, I don't know how you choose. I don't know what your criteria is.
Right? Like, what
There
do you
were,
mean?
I thought the Wednesday one is more fun. The other one, the
Yeah.
food is better at the Wednesday one. How do you
Yeah.
decide? But when I can get her out,
Yeah.
she comes out, and she knows what is possible better than anyone else her age that I know
Yeah.
of.
It's essential.
That's
So
yeah.
those are some good parenting tips for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I want to. That's like the goal. I want to have. I want to have the kid. We don't know the gender yet. We'll find out in two weeks. Wow, it's crazy. But ideally, like bring them like from a very young age, like around to see like exactly what you can do.
How
Like,
the world works.
how
How
the world works,
Another
yeah.
question for you: where do you find? Where's that balance between? Because like as a parent, I'm sure you want to give you want your kids to have the best. You want to give them everything, but at the same time, like you're like a part of it has to be earned. Where do you draw that line? How much do you
that's
give to her, and then
that's a great question for you're not a parent yet, right?
not yet.
This man's around the corner.
Yeah.
It's like probably
His
a
is
year.
coming first. But
Yeah, his is like a year away. It's
Okay.
guaranteed.
All right. So that's a great question, right? So everyone says, "Oh, I want my child to have the things that I couldn't afford, or this and that." But when you pay for everything for your kid, you make a weak kid. You have to let them struggle. You have to let them fend for themselves. And I'm not saying I've done a great job, but I've always known this. But her mother and I are not together since she was 3, and so it's extra hard in a broken home, right? If I want my daughter to love me more. Here's ice cream, right? I mean that happens, right? Even
Yeah.
and me and my ex have a great relationship. But we have that struggle, and so I mean, she's spoiled to some extent. But I drew the line on her car. She just got her license last Tuesday.
Yep.
really,
Yep. And I said, I'm not helping you. And I told her this for like a year. I said, I'm not going to help you. You have to do it on your own. Because remember, I own a car dealership.
Yeah.
So everyone assumed I would just buy her a car.
Yeah.
And I wanted her to earn it and have it. And she's like, well, Dad, would you let me make you payments on it? And I'm like, no.
That's funny.
So I said no. So
Gotcha.
she's responsible for the car, maintenance, gas, insurance, all of it.
Really?
I'm putting it on. The only thing I paid for driver's ed, because I wanted her to have the higher level of driver's ed. I wanted her to be the best driver she could be. So I paid for the more expensive driver's ed. That's all I paid for. And even the state fee to get your license, it's like $80 something, I think.
Yeah.
I made her. She has to pay that.
Good.
And so that's where I drew the line.
Yeah.
Everyone's different. Also, make sure your kid starts out with a shitty car. I was just with a friend the other night, and she bought her and her kid's father bought the kids new cars when they turned of age. And I'm like, you can't go up from there much.
yeah,
Yeah.
The first car should have dents and rust, and Sierra's car has crank windows and manual locks if you can find one of those,
Yeah.
Dang.
because the next car will be better.
Yeah.
Right? She can go up.
Yeah.
If you buy your kid like a brand new fancy car,
Right.
I mean, you can go up a little bit and get a better model, but they're not going down to a used car. That they will learn that the car is. They have to have that car. Their standard is set, right? That's the
Yeah.
best way to say it. You've set their standard.
Yeah.
When that car is gone, say they drive it a few years, maybe it gets sold or crashed or whatever.
Yeah.
They're not going to go buy like a beater.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to go down that low. So, and one of the most expensive things that we all pay for in our lives is our car.
Yeah.
It's usually housing, car, and then it's what we eat and drink usually, and then maybe travel. Right? Those are like top 4 for most people. They're always going to spend a lot on their car.
Yeah.
So my daughter is starting out with a 2009 Corolla with crank windows and manual locks.
Yeah.
And it has a little bit of rust and some scratches on the paint, quite a few scratches actually.
Yeah.
But it has great tires and it runs good and no check engine light. And
Yeah.
that's what I recommend for other parents out there.
Interesting.
Do you let her drive yours?
So I have an Escalade. So no, I've let her drive it up the hill when it's a dead end, but it's too large a vehicle.
Yeah.
Let her get good at the little car first.
Yeah,
So
gotcha.
the answer is no.
I feel like I don't have the kid yet, but I feel like I'd want to like provide so much, especially because we grew up like low middle class, and I always I saw like my parents struggle a lot. We never always have a lot of money. So I want to be like, what, I'm not. They're not gonna see that ever. And I want to provide, but then I'm like, I also don't want to raise like a kid who's like thinks that I'm just gonna give them everything. You know what I mean? They're not gonna want to work for anything.
The more the kids
fear.
struggle, the stronger they become. That doesn't mean that you want them to like struggle super hard, because it's not fun to struggle, right? You want them to enjoy their childhood. You don't want them to be worrying about money when they're 6 years old to buy lunch, right?
Yeah.
Not that was ever me, but there's some balance there. But if you give the kid everything, the odds are they will not appreciate it. Doesn't mean definitely everyone's different. You know, how they're raised, how they're wired, all matters. But you know, don't putting the odds in your kid's favor. It means giving them struggle. Yeah. Letting them struggle. Another thing I do, by the way, I teach classes. Yeah. And one of the things I teach is advanced tax avoidance class. I'm sorry, I host classes. Yeah. I have an excellent CPA who teaches that class, named Mark Gagner. Yep. And so you having a new kid, you can hire your kid from day one. Really? Yes, for a great tax deduction. No shit. Yep. You know, if you guys have anyone reach out to you about taking some of these classes, I teach short-term rental, owner-operator, vision building, goal setting, construction management, advanced tax avoidance, and entrepreneurship and income streams. Those are the 6. Okay. And so the tax one can save you a few $100,000 over the course of your life while your kid is not actually working, kind of working.
Really?
Yeah. At what age?
Day they're born.
Fresh out the womb.
Fresh out of the womb. Literally. So the way a kid can work for you, fresh out of the womb, is you take pictures with your kid and you use them in some marketing material. Now they work for you. That's legal and legit.
Who would have thought? Dang. And how much is that deduction, like just off the top of your head?
$12,950 a year.
Really?
I think it might have gone above 13 this year.
That is a lot of money.
So the way it works, this is. I'm just going to tell you guys how it is. Yeah. The other stuff you got to take the class, but this one I'm telling you, you'll love it.
That's a good deal.
All right, you'll love this one. So the kid works for you. You pay your child on payroll. Yep. $12,950. They are exempt from all payroll taxes, income taxes, all of it. Yep. It's a $12,950. They get all of it. It is a $12,950 deduction for your business. All right, so you've made that money tax free now. Yep. The $12,950 has to go to your kid's bank account. Let's say, and so they pay 0 taxes. You get the full deduction. Yep. But now your kid has $12,950, right? Let's say you're not ready to give your kid $12,950 from age 0, right? Because what are they going to spend it on? That's a little much, right?
A lot of money, yeah.
Do you know that there is no law against charging your 0-year-old gas money to bring them to daycare? Can you be like, hey, 0-year-old child, I don't even know your gender yet, but you know, little Johnny. Yeah. Little Johnny, you're 0 years old, but I just want you to know it's your turn to buy the groceries this week. Yeah. There's no law against that. You can claw the money back in legal and appropriate ways, and your kid can contribute to the household from age 0.
Jeez, I'm gonna take the class. Let me know when the next one is. I want to know all of this.
You said you hosted these? How do you host these? Where do you host these?
So I host them at my Airbnb usually. That's Serenity Woods.
That's smart. And you can just, you don't got to pay for like a venue. You just sponsor it yourself, huh?
Yeah. I limit it to 20 people at a time because I have a table that seats 20. Yeah.
Huh. And is it a series of sorry.
No, the classes have been, they're kind of sporadic. I actually wait about 45 days out. I wait to see when it's not rented. They're always during weekdays because the weekends rent well. And they've been very well received. I may not have realized how much cool stuff I've picked up over the years. Yeah. And that I have the ability to relay it in a way that you guys can take advantage of it. Yeah. And it's been really good, the class, and they've been fun. I teach those classes as much for me as I do for the people in the class. It doesn't feel like work. I know I bring a lot of value.
It's hanging out with people, talking.
Yeah, and it makes money. I charge $500 a seat for the day. Lunch is catered and included. At the end at 5 o'clock, and class is over, I encourage everyone to stay and network. I order some pizzas, and talk about what we learned that day.
Dude,
and then
that's pretty sick. And it's funny. I saw you post on CTA Investors. I don't think it was this class. It was a different class or something like that. And you gave like it's X amount for a seat. Come by, do this. I was like, that's a pretty cool, interesting concept. I didn't know you did multiple courses, classes like that.
So cool. I've done like 4 or 5 others. There's some that I wouldn't do again. Yep. I'm kind of learning. So QuickBooks, for example. So QuickBooks, I'm terrible at QuickBooks. So what I do is I find someone who's good at it, and then I host the class. So I put it together, but I attend. So my bookkeeper in my office was the teacher that day, and I paid her to be there and do it. But you know how I said like I enjoy it and it's fun for me? QuickBooks is not fun for me. And so I wouldn't do it again because it was a boring day for me. And that's the only reason. Yeah. Even though people need QuickBooks, it's just not for me. So there was another one that was it was an advanced appraisal It was the ins and outs of appraisals. I forgot how he named it. So I had a guy who's really strong on appraisals come in, and there was one guy in the class who saved $25,000 off of something he learned in the class the next week. He paid $500. He made 25 grand the next week off of it because he had a deal in process. But the problem is most people don't want to know stuff about appraisal. It was very hard to fill the room. So I only had like 6 guys that time. So I wouldn't do that one again just because it's not, it doesn't cater to the masses.
Interesting. You made somebody save somebody 25 grand.
25 grand, I know. And I'm like, dang, I should have done it on a percentage basis, right?
Right? Yeah, for real. Anything they saved.
Oh, by the way, appraisals, just because I know where this is mostly a real estate one, appraisals, they're almost worthless.
Yeah.
You can make appraisals say whatever you want within reason. I didn't realize how they can be however you're feeling that day, or
really?
you can make them go really high, make them go really low. You know,
Yeah.
I'll give you another example. This is a tax avoidance one, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. That's another good one.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
One of my partners, we had actually sold the house, so we weren't partners at the moment. But he's like, "Hey, man, I found this deal. I'm not quite sure what to do with it, but I know it's a deal." So it was a house that had caught on fire, and it was listed for like 60, 50, 40, and I think it was at like 35 grand. Right? Fire damage houses are the worst to rehab. They're always more than the others, right? And so he goes, he figured out this is the last piece of property within an estate, and they really wanted to close the estate. And he offered them $6,000, and they said yes. So he's like, gotta be worth that, right? Gotta be worth that. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, And so we figured out that the right play there was to donate it to charity.
Yeah.
And so I hired that appraiser. So we bought it for $6,000, and we hired the appraiser. And the appraiser was able to appraise it for $125,000.
Yeah.
As is. And so then we donated it to charity, $125,000 write-off. And the charity then goes and lists it for whatever they want. And they actually just did this recently. They gave me a shout out. It was Team John. I believe they sold it. They sold the property, and 100% of the proceeds of whatever they sell it for goes to the charity.
Huh.
So everybody wins.
That's genius. So you say appraisals, they can go as high and low as you want. So say
Within reason.
Within reason. Okay. So say, for example, I think you've heard about it. The house on what was it, Woodford Street or something like that, sold for $535. Highest on 3-family.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So we're looking to refinance Stearns this summer. So because we have at this point apparently a lot more equity than I thought we had. I was thinking we're gonna have we owe three like 20 something. It's gonna be worth like 420, 430. Like, do you think? Yeah. So how could we use that appraisal? Do we extend it to a bank and say, hey, like this sold for
it's a comp, yeah. So we do it quickly and give it to them as a comp.
Yeah.
Something doesn't smell right about that deal. Something wasn't right.
Right.
There's no way that a person bought that, or that the agents, like the buyer agent, would advise their client to pay that much. So unless they were like they totally didn't care about their client, like to buy that house for $525, was it?
Yeah.
You have to hate money because you're going to give it away every day.
Yeah.
For as long as you have it.
Oh, it was awful. It's an awful deal. So would you say it would be smart to refinance now before something like gets changed with that?
You know what? You should definitely talk to a lender about that and tell them that, hey, I want to use this comp. That comp expires at some point.
Okay.
So you have to refi before the comp expires so you can use that. It probably would help you. You should talk to a lender right away.
I am going to do that today. I'm going to put that in my notes as we speak.
Yep. And I mean, if you appraise a little lower than that one, I mean, I think you're still doing fine.
Literally, yes, we're still in good space.
And if you're in the same neighborhood, you're in the same neighborhood, right?
Yeah, it's right. Yeah. It's in Stern Street.
I would reach out to that listing agent.
Yeah.
And ask them if their client, or I'm sorry, the buyer agent, I'd reach out to them.
Yeah.
And say, hey, does your client want another one? And try to sell them your place. I mean,
really think so?
I don't know if they're looking for another one, but I mean, if they hate money, you might as well take it from them, right?
Interesting. Oh, we cashed out. $200 grand. That would be something. 1031.
You can always get into something else.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to sell.
Tough part is like getting into something else. Like, where do you
Don't be afraid to sell. If you're selling at what you perceive to be the absolute peak, don't be afraid of like, oh, where am I going to put the money? Like you'll find a place.
Yeah.
Something will come along.
And do you have to yield to, like, was it 90 days before you get 1031 it without getting
1031 exchange? You have to identify what you want to buy within 45 days, and then it's 180 days to close it.
Okay.
From the date of your sale.
Got you.
So if you fail to do that, then you owe the taxes like you would have anyway.
Damn. Okay.
All right.
So in this situation, would it be smarter to refinance and pull out like the 80, 90, whatever you can pull out, or would it be smarter to sell? What do you think?
If you can get anywhere close to that ridiculous price, sell it.
Okay.
It's not worth that now. It's not worth that in the future. It's
Okay.
not worth that ever. And if you can get more than it's worth, I mean, you can take that. If you sold that place, go buy a 3-family somewhere else, overpay, but you're not going to overpay by as much as you got paid. Just go buy another 3-family for too much money, and you're fine.
Huh.
Pocket $100,000 and go buy another 3-family.
You buy a brand spanking new one.
Yeah, I'll go build a 3-family. You know, imagine, like, geez. Okay.
Yeah, something doesn't smell right about that deal, though. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it just,
I mean, I could be wrong, but something was up.
something's up, right?
Something's up.
There's no way. There's no 3-family in Bristol's ever sold for that much money.
No, that's a record for sure.
Yeah, and it's just like one street over, and our house is bigger. It has an extra bedroom. It's like 200 square foot bigger. The only thing they have on us was it had a 3-car garage instead of a 1-car garage.
I heard it was remodeled very well. Like it was a very nice looking property.
Yeah.
So I mean, to its credit,
Ours is there. New roof siding, new boiler, new electrical systems in the for the some of the units, vinyl floors, refinished floors, you name it. The house has it.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. So, but
Shot.
that tax strategy though, just to go back to that. So remember, so if you ever see something that is almost $0, like it could be an empty piece of land, you know, it has to have some value because they got to sell it eventually, right? But if you can buy a empty plot of land in Waterbury that nobody wants, you can buy it, get an appraisal on it, donate it to charity. If you've made profit, make sure you made profit that year that you can take it against.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. And remember, like the 125, you only get to save if you're in a 33% tax bracket. My tax savings in actual cash were only like 40, right? Because if I appraise it at 120, we'll say I only got 40, and then you have to pay for the appraisal. The appraisal is like $2 or $3 grand.
Yeah.
You know, and you held it for a while. You got some taxes, and you have closing on one side, closing on the other side.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're not going to get rich with this strategy. I didn't even think of this one. This was my buddy brought this to me, and he was like, "Hey man, I got it for 6," and I'm like. And I looked at it and I'm like, man, this isn't worth rehabbing at 0. Like, if I bought that property for $0 and renovated it and either tried to flip it or sell it or rent it or whatever,
Lost money.
I would have lost money even if I got it for free.
Huh.
It was like knockdown worthy.
Yeah, there is some houses that are like shot, like really shot. There was one we did Freedom did in Torrington. I don't know if you saw 1464 Newfield Road, Torrington. I don't know if you saw the after pictures. That one was my mistake. So I had somebody lined up to double close it. Luke was like, I don't want to double close, I want to wholesale it. And the guys, the sellers, like, no offense to them, were not working with us. They were investors. They did not want us wholesale. I was like, why are you being so different? We're giving you the number you want. We're wholesaling for like 10 grand. Super small deal. Like, just make it easy for us. Didn't make it easy for us. So we had to double close it, and my buyer backed out.
On the day of a double close?
Like, on the day before the double close, we had to close it. Like, Luke still closed it. We MLS'd it after no one bought it. It was such a garbage house.
How much did you pay for it?
I think we bought it for $124.
Okay.
And the house was like, when I tell you it was bad, like, I think Luke said it was one of his most extensive renovations.
What did you do with it? How did you end up getting out of it?
Just renovate. It took like, I think like.
Oh, you did it?
Yeah, he did the project. Oh, this is like a Luke thing. We didn't have the money for that project. I would never bought that project. We weren't supposed to buy that project. It was I think it was built in like the 1800s, the house. And it was just, when I tell you it needed everything. It needed siding, it needed a basement.
How'd Luke end up, if you don't mind me asking?
I think so. We bought for $127. He put, I think, $120 to like $130 into it. I want to say it sold for $365.
So we did okay.
Did okay, but after the whole cost and everything, like, we held it for a long time.
No, for a mistake, that's a great result.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So me and Luke did a fire flip in Terryville.
Really?
A few years back.
Yeah.
And we lost on it.
Really?
Underestimating how much extra it takes to renovate a house that's been on fire.
Really?
Yep. There's
That's
additional stuff you need, and me and Luke lost on it.
Really?
Yep.
No shit. How much? If you don't mind me asking, a lot.
I think we lost like 30 grand with 15 apiece.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was like 6 years ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Me and Luke, we're still good. We're still good friends. We haven't. That was the only one we did together though.
Really? Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Damn. Would you ever partner again?
Oh, absolutely. Luke's 100%. Like he's a stand-up guy, trustworthy, honest, and knows what he's doing. I would absolutely partner with him again.
Yeah,
if
he knows
something.
his numbers. Like, just like.
So when it comes to partnerships, right from the beginning of our talk, right, the odds of Luke needing me for a partner are pretty low. The odds of me needing Luke for a partner are pretty low. If we found something that makes sense, I would totally be his partner again. But the odds aren't that good because we don't need what each other has to offer. You know.
Yeah.
That's smart. So you could just do it yourselves. You know what I mean?
We can do it ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, it would have to be some kind of project that we, for some reason, decided that hey, we should do this together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only one I know that I've been part of that he partnered on, like that I've seen, was the two of them with a buddy of his, Well, not like it's a buddy of his, like one of his investors slash mentor that he had, who also flips real estate. They did like a massive one in Farmington. So I think they bought it for like 3 and change, and they ended up selling it. I don't know what to put into. I was involved. I think I put like 200 or something into it. They sold it for like seven. I think it sold for like 720, 730 or something like that. So it's the only one I like know that he partnered on. Then he did like a really quick rehab in like Stanford, but like it was like literally didn't even rehab it. Just closed it, cleaned it, and put it back on the market. So small deals. That's the system nowadays. Just close them, clean them out, put it back on the market.
That works.
It works.
And then someone's gonna be the winning bid out of like 20 offers.
Yeah.
And other people are gonna be like, congratulations, and I'm gonna be like, oh, so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, right. It's crazy. We did one in on North Orchard. We did nothing to it. We cleaned out the house and just like 'cause it was a bunch of stuff. We spent a couple $1,000 on the clean out. And we listed it and sold it. It was under contract in three days, and it was a project. It wasn't an easy project. It was a project, and someone saw Wallingford and was like, "This is great," and they bought it for. I think it sold for like $299. We bought it for like $202.
There are people that like they were the high bidder, and like I was sure they were going to lose money, and they didn't because the prices just sell so high.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've seen them make money plenty of times. So when I say, oh, so sorry to hear that, it doesn't mean that they're not going to make money.
Yeah.
But it does mean they've paid too much for what they've got, and and while they have that, while they're in project, I mean, those are dangerous waters. If the housing market downturns while you have that project, and you've overpaid a lot, you're going to be stuck with it. You know.
Yeah. That's why we're trying to do low risk things, innovations.
Yeah, and innovation is great, and then a fast turnaround. Fast turnaround fast turnaround is more popular than novations, right?
Yeah, just if you can quicker your cruise out, the quicker you can get it done.
In and out.
Market. Yeah,
in and out, as fast as you can go.
That's the goal. Yeah, nothing. We don't like us in particular because we don't have like a lot to we don't have to do that much. Like full transparency, like we're still like trying to preserve our capital, trying to play it safe as we can. So we don't want to make a bad buy and lose like all we worked for, you know what I mean? So like we're trying to be
cautious, be patient.
So cautious.
You know, it's hard to be patient when you're young and trying to do a lot. You know?
Yeah, just make more and like buy more buildings and stuff. But the selling Stearns idea it's not a bad idea because like you're right, no one's.
Yeah, we go back and forth all the time.
We really
okay, maybe
that
not.
house is like this has been a nightmare for us. It was college. It was we both tried to go to school, but that house was the graduation of college for us. We learned one house. We learned like all this stuff, so it might be worth the sale.
Who's the realtor you like?
Who
do you use?
Myself.
Yourself, okay.
Well, I use my broker Vic.
Comp it out.
Yeah.
See what you would list it for.
Well,
and if it's a really fat number, then list it.
The thing is, like, no other comps make sense. Well, no other number would make sense besides that like 500 number, because nothing else is sold for that. So I'm basing off of one comp. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't think they're going to let you base off the one comp, right? They're going to want more than one, right?
Yeah.
So what's the next one?
Next one, I think I saw something sold for like 470.
That's a huge number. Still, yeah, there's a 3 family, right?
Huh?
That's a huge number still.
Yeah, no, it's so big. We can get anywhere close to that. I mean, pull the trigger. If you know anyone wants to buy it, like it is for sale.
No, I would never tell my friends to buy that. I would be like only I'll be like, hey, if you want to lose money, buy this 3 family for 470, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's even if you cash flow a little bit of money, if you're like, well, vacancy. Everything rents right away, so it's going to be 0. And, the house is in really nice shape, so I'm not going to have a repair rate.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to manage it myself, so there's no management. And I don't need a CapEx because he just put on a new roof, a new siding, and new windows, and new boiler. And now my cash flow is pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And I'm like, no, man, you lost. That's a lose. That's a lose.
How'd you and Luke meet?
We originally met at CT RIA years ago. It was when I first started going. So this was like 14 years ago. And then I forgot when we actually started like hanging out. I can't remember how I knew who he was and he knew who I was, and we were just doing our own thing. It was there was a couple deals in Bristol. So when I was at my peak of buying, flipping, renting, we would look at the same house a couple times, and we met each other out. Gotcha. And Luke was always a gentleman, and Luke would say, "Hey man, you're looking at this one? I won't bid against you." Yeah. And so I always appreciated that about him. Yeah. He's like, I know this is your neighborhood. Luke has always been a gentleman like that. And so I think that's how we connected more. And me and Luke looked at a crack house together in Bristol one time. And I know he'll never forget because he doesn't like go and talk to the crackheads, but I do. Yeah, right. And so I pull up and they're having a little like fire pit going in the back. And there's like 3 crackheads, like legit crackheads. And we're interested in the house. The landlord is trying to get out of it because he can't figure out how to get rid of the crackheads. And I'm like, all right, Luke, you ready? Let's go make new friends. And Luke looks at me like, Like, oh, really? I mean, I'm like, yeah. And so we got out of the car
Yeah.
and we go and say, hey guys, how's it going? You know, we're super nice, super gentle. And we're like, hey, the landlord said this place was for sale, and we wanted to come and see the tenants and see if they wanted to stay or go. And I can tell the place is pretty rough. I'm like, how is the landlord here? And I asked that question on purpose because I know they're gonna slander him, right? They're gonna tell us what a terrible landlord he is. But I let them vent, and now we're friends. Right? So I'm not defending the landlord at all. I'm like, oh, really? He did that? Oh, he wouldn't fix that? Yeah. Oh man, that's not right. That's not right.
What a horrible person, yeah.
And those crackheads loved me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we made new friends. And that's how you win them over,
Yeah.
And then they'll tell you anything. They'll give you a tour, get access to everything. You can price your renovations.
Yeah.
And hey, do you plan on staying? Do you plan on going? He did say he owed some back rent, and he's like, oh well, I mean, we kind of want to stay, but no, we should really go. And he's like, well, I'll tell you what, man, I might be able to get your security deposit back if you were to leave, which the landlord wouldn't normally give you because you owe him back rent. Yeah. I might be able to get it back for you, which is a fancy way of saying cash for keys, but they don't understand what that is, right? Yeah. And also, I don't want them to ask for more, right? If they figure out what cash for keys is, they might have asked me for like $5,000. Mm-hmm. If I say I can get your security deposit back, it's like $1,000, and it sounds different to them. Like they're not. It doesn't lead them down that path of thinking.
They don't even think about it.
To take cash for keys. Mm-hmm. So for $1,000 they would leave, and they would be like, "This is the best day ever. Let's go get high and go to the shelter or whatever they do."
Yeah, right. Did you guys buy the deal?
We did not.
Damn.
We did not buy that one.
Interesting.
That would have been one that I did with Luke, though. It would have been another one. But when we went there to see the property, that's something he'll remember for sure.
Hey, I'll ask him.
Ask him about it next time.
I'll ask him about it. I know he comes back from. I know he think he's in he's skiing this weekend. So
skiing, yeah.
Man, that man skis.
Yeah, yeah.
He's ski. I tell you that he will ski and look at storage facilities in Utah. So
yeah,
always expanding.
Yeah.
But now just to learn, just pull different everything how he manages business, structures everything. It's seeing it in person. It's as we start to transition into our stuff. It's just great to have all those nuggets, all that experience, just to transfer it in. It's almost almost like a head start. It's like a free. I got paid to learn, side by side. You know what I mean? Look at all these deals, analyze commercial deals, stuff people would pay thousands of dollars for. I got paid to do it.
No, you are in great shape in that way.
Right? It's it was a blessing. So, and I met him on a fluke. I met him through my old brokerage. This guy, he used to do the leasing. And I guess he got into a fight with Heather, the office director, and office manager. She's like, I don't want Gary anymore. You need to find somebody else.
So are you in Luke's meetings? He has the weekly or monthly meetings or something?
I was as of 2 weeks ago. Now I'm back to 1099, so now I'm just solely doing our sales.
Okay, because he told me that once in a while he says, what would Haberfeld do? Does he ever say that?
He said it a couple times in some of our meetings. Yeah. And you came up in one of our quarterlies, our last, 2 quarterly meetings ago. I don't know what context, but you came up. And Nick Raccapiori?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he said a joke, and then Luke was like, "Yeah, I think that's something Dave would do." But it was kind of funny, so I was like, "Yeah."
What would Haberfeld do? He says that once in a while. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Thanks. So you guys go
back, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Dude, and then together for a long time.
And that you guys are friends. You guys are into the same stuff. It's for us. It's been hard to find friends that kind of are into the same kind of stuff or that want to do something. Who else do you have as a friend to kind of reach out to and
Oh, I've been in 18 years, so I have lots of them by now, and I'm very extroverted, so lots of them by now. If you're looking for friends that are young, that are into this kind of stuff, I don't know how easy it is to find them outside of real estate meetups. You have to go to the CT RIAs. That's where you're going to find your friends that have the same interests.
Yeah, we'll go to our buddy Brian hosts one now. We're starting to go to more. We went to a couple young entrepreneurship ones, and now we're finally starting to meet more heads. Finally, and so it's good to kind of build our network of just people.
Yeah, and don't make it just work. Go out for dinner. Go out for happy hour. Go out and do some stuff. Your friendships don't have to revolve only around work, but when you're working all the time, when you're young and hungry, work is the driver, right? And so I made these mistakes when I was younger, and I have some regrets. I wish I had done more of the socialness, but I was all business, and I was lacking balance in my life. And having balance is I wish I had more balance in my earlier years. I'm definitely there now. I think I have very strong balance now, but I didn't always have that.
That's where we're kind of stuck now, especially with the social stuff. I want to now more than ever push the social part of us. I want to develop my social skills. I feel like I'm like that's something that.
Are you more introverted or
self-conscious.
extroverted?
I feel like I'm more introverted.
Okay.
And I can give you a funny example.
Yeah.
Okay, so the most recent CT RIA.
Oh
my God, Marcos.
I was
so we couldn't stay for the whole time, but he wanted to go there and like meet connections. And this
just to talk,
just to get his reps in. And he asked this guy.
Man.
He was like, the two of us, I'm more extroverted, Marcos more introverted. So like we go hand in hand, like we complement each other really well now. But so I was like, you know what, you take lead, just like go talk to this guy. And he was like a commercial roofing guy. And the body language, you know how if you're like nervous, you're like really stiff. Marcos walked up like super stiff. He's like, "Hey."
Like,
so
I tried.
Like pointed at this guy.
I tried to open up, but he didn't receive it.
He did not receive it well at all.
When you came in, like and when we greeted, I was already so salty. I was like, I shut myself down. I was like,
he was really upset.
And I was like, I can't because that's a part of that I really want to develop. It's just most of my work. It's just I'm by myself. Like we're fixing our own things, we're doing our own things, and I'm just like I'm by myself. And so I was like, this CT RIA, dude, I want to shake a couple hands, new hands, just talk to new people.
So you just went to the roofer guy?
So that first interaction killed it for me.
What did you say to him? How did you open up?
I wanted to be like open and honest and say, listen, I like listening to the stands. I like talking to the people about the stands. And I forget what I said, but I came over and the guy didn't seem like he wanted to be there.
He did not want to be there. He did not want to be there.
Was he working a booth or something?
He was working a booth for another company. So he was just like, you could tell he was filming the chair.
So okay. It was another roofing company, and so I was like, cool. Like, you know, my full time is also with a commercial roofing company, and so I was like, I'm gonna talk to this guy, and he was just like, kind of like, not passive aggressive, but he was like, I don't know if it was because we were like competing roofing companies but he just did not receive it.
Okay.
And I was like, and it put me down, and I like took it a certain way, and then some of his comments too were like, were like, yeah, like cool, like never heard of you, and I was like,
it was lethal.
I mean, yeah, that's not the point. I'm like,
so why would you let that bring you down? You can't let that bring you down.
You're right.
If you walk into a room like CT RIA and the first person you talk to says, "Hey, you look stupid today," you're gonna let that ruin your night?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Right?
I think I just
you're gonna you got to go to the next guy who's gonna be like, "Hey, man, it's a pleasure to meet you," right? So networking, basic networking skills, like you should make sure like you know what you're going to say or like how you're gonna open up and make it easy and conversational, you know. You got unlucky and picked the wrong guy, obviously, in that one, you know.
Like media test,
you know. But you know, you can walk in like how many times you been to CT RIA?
4 or 5 times.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 times.
We try and go like every other month. We try and make it. And then we'll like mix in the Stanford ones occasionally. That's when we started the Stanford.
Okay.
Going forward, maybe we want to shoot for 3 a month, 4 a month.
Different meetups.
Okay.
We'll like
you should.
Yeah, you see people. I think you post them too, like the meetups for the month.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that. Brandon Rush is supposed to post that calendar. He's late this month.
Yeah, oh really?
Yeah.
He's
that helps.
and I see people posted around. Yeah, so we'll go to someone there. We'll go to Brian's. We want to get to his more.
Yep.
Just to support his meetup.
Okay.
He's we met him through a meetup, and now we became a good friend.
Yeah. So as an opening line, how's this, right? So hey, my name's Marcos. I'm pretty new to CT RIA. I've only been here about 6 months, but I'm loving it so far. What do you do? You know, and just leave it very open like that. You know, or something to that effect. Or is there, is there anything you're looking for today? I'm looking to make some connections and taking shopping lists. You know.
Gotcha. That feels very.
It allows them to respond however they choose. You've left a wide opening, right?
Yeah.
Where they can say like, oh hey, I'm new, I'm old, I'm busy, they can answer however they like, and it's just super, just a super easy entrance, right? If you were to do that 10 times, you meet 10 people, bring cards, collect cards.
Yeah.
When you connect with someone on I like to connect with people on Facebook, because I'm on there all the time. When I make a new friend on Facebook, I write them a message and I say, March 3rd, 2024, CT RIA, and I send it to him. And then I say, I write this down so that in the future, if I'm ever looking, I can scroll up and I can see where I met you, in case we don't talk, because you don't know if you're going to communicate a lot, right? And I'm the only guy I know that does that. And I only started doing it about a year ago. And so every new friend, I'm like, March 3rd, 2024, CT RIA, and it's the first message I send you, so I can scroll up and I'll be like, oh, that's where I met him.
Oh, that's actually really smart.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to remember.
Where is that?
I'll literally like send somebody a name. I'll be like Nick Astra Properties. I'll send them like my name, but then I don't. That's actually smart.
Yeah.
There's a wholesaler. I went to go look at a deal. I don't know if you saw on CT Investors. It was the New Britain 2-family. It was asking 165, and I was like, oh, a 2-family New Britain for 165 is supposed to be great. It wasn't great. There's a reason. But I texted him just Nick Astra Properties. I didn't save his number. Then he texted me afterwards. He's like, "Hey, great meeting you the other day. Hopefully we do some business in the future." And I was like,
You forgot who it was?
completely forgot. It clicked with me afterward, but I was like, where did I had to go through like my logs.
Save all the numbers.
Yeah.
That you take into, like when people call you, save them, and don't save their name. Like John Smith. Like I don't have that many John Smiths. Yeah. I have John 123 Main Street buyer.
Yeah.
I have, Sally 2015 Honda Accord red.
Yeah.
Like whatever makes me remember them.
Gotcha.
Or and who introduced me. Sometimes I'll put who introduced me, so I could be like Jimmy Ron Faraci roofer or something. Like I'll put, that's how I save them in my phone, because it gives me just enough to jog my memory, or if it's exact, then I know what I have.
Yeah,
I know who I'm talking to.
That's smart. I got to stop like saving the person last names. Not gonna know who that person is ever again. Like,
yeah, the last name is probably not that important to remember, depending on how much you want to put. I mean, put it in. There's no reason not to put it in unless you're worried about how much space it takes up. But what is important is who referred you to them, what they did, like any of those kind of hints that you can have. Because I mean, you're gonna meet so many people, and you might run into someone a year later, and then it's only awkward if you're like, "Hey, nice to meet you," and they're like, "Oh, we met here," and you're like, "Oh, sorry about that, I forgot you." Like that's not a great way to start, right?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not good.
And so if you can, but another tip, another good one, whenever you see someone, and if you have any possibility that you might have met them before, just say "nice to see you." Don't say "nice to meet you," because if you met them before, it's weird. Yeah. But if you say "nice to see you," there's nothing wrong with that. It's very neutral.
Yeah,
that's what that Cali guy did at the CT area. You know Cali? He owns.
Everyone knows Cali.
Everyone knows Cali. He sold the Stearns.
But, so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, literally. Oh my god. He said a passive aggressive comment. He knew that was a bad buy. We bought it as a bad buy. We knew that. Well, 2 years ago now. We didn't know it was a bad buy. Looking back at it, was a bad buy. Yeah. He like made a joke about it. He's like, yeah.
He was like, "You bought it?"
He was like, surprised. And we met him before.
We're like, we've talked to you twice before.
Yeah, and he's like, "Nice to meet you." And I was like, "Man, it sucks."
Kali's a big networker. He meets lots and lots of people. Yeah. So how's he going to remember you? He's probably not using those tips that I just gave, right?
Yeah.
And he, it's
true.
When you're networking, it is not someone else's job to remember you. It is your job to make sure they remember you. Right, so you have to be memorable in some way, and that can be just reaching out once or twice. One of the ways that I make sure people remember me is social media presence. I post all the time, and I try to put out really good content, and so that's one of the ways that I want people to remember me.
Okay,
and it works. It works well.
That's really smart. That's why we're like trying to ramp up our Astra Properties game. I gotta ramp up my personal too, but just like.
Make it your personal page.
Yeah.
Facebook is not designed for business pages to.
I mean, like Instagram. People. Yeah, no, we don't.
Instagram. Okay.
Yeah, well, we don't like our page on Facebook is like sad. But Instagram is lively.
Get your personal Facebook pages. Start doing that. Okay. The reason you need Facebook is because that's where the old people hang out, and the old people have money. Yeah. That's what I told my daughter. So my daughter said Facebook is for old people. I said, "Honey, you're right."
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's where the old people have money, and that's where they hang out.
Gotcha.
Instagram doesn't let you tell a story like Facebook does.
Yeah.
Instagram, I don't even. I mean, it's because I'm old. I don't even understand the appeal of it, really. I mean, putting out the pictures and stuff, it's cool, and I'll go through the reels, and they're fun to watch. But if I'm looking to get a message across, Instagram is not where it is.
Yeah.
Facebook is the answer.
I gotta start posting on when I was a realtor full time. I would like be always post. I would use what's it called? I think it's called Constant Contact.
Okay.
No, keep them at as current. Keep them at as current. And it would just give you real estate insights and you can make a blog, and they gave you the blog content, but like I would post my blogs. You could brand it to yourself. That was the whole point of the system. You brand it to like your own like logo and everything, and I would just repost my own stuff on my personal whenever I would sell a house. I'm like, congrats to my buyers. It was stuff like that. But it was never anything like.
So that's okay, right? But that will. It's only so interesting to so many.
Yeah, so many people.
So many of your audience, right? So first, friend request everyone that you see, everyone you meet is first. Message them, and so you know where you met them.
Yeah.
Don't post more than 20% business.
Yeah.
Max. Everybody likes pet things. Like, that's a pretty cat.
Yeah.
Post something about your cat.
Yeah.
When people love babies, you know, when you have a kid, like make sure to post about your kid and through the journey. People love that shit.
Yeah.
Post about things that happen to you, current events. Probably 20% of my content I've taken from someone else. It is copying, pasting someone else's stuff that I think was good or current events or just valuable somehow. Funny things. Like I post a quote of the day, a joke of the day sometimes. I'll post Sierra-isms of the day. It was my daughter when she said funny things as a kid.
Yeah.
You know,
Sierra-isms, that's funny.
And people are like, you know, how do you do that? And so what it is I posted it when it happened years ago, and it comes up in the Memories app, and I just copy and paste it. And I look at that, I read it in the morning, and I'm like, oh, that was funny.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember. I barely remember, and I wrote it. So if I don't remember it, I know you don't remember it.
Yeah,
so you guys see the same content from me every year, but no one remembers it, so it's fresh.
That is so smart.
Yeah,
you can just repurpose all that stuff, and
repurpose all your stuff. And like, you look through, like if I look through, like on this day, my memories, right? I probably have like 50 posts, and you know a lot of them are the same, but there's probably like 2 or 3 good ones that are also like timeless. That aren't like about current events that are past and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and that's how you build it up.
We're building up our library.
Yeah,
library. Yes, it's a library.
Yep.
Exactly.
And like for our stuff, we're trying to like have like we're trying to take like action-y shots, like quick tips. Like yesterday we were at Stearns. We had to knock out something really quick, and then we were outside. We just took like some quick videos. That way we could just fill space with like more. So like when say we're doing like a voiceover, we just want like shots of us like doing stuff that we can like voice over. So like, oh, quick tip of the day, and it's like us voicing it over, but it's not like stock content. It's like real life content. You know what I mean? So trying to do stuff like that, but we can recycle it to like a million different things. You know what I mean? Just so it's the same. That's interesting. And
the more fun it is, the more entertaining you are. It's about entertainment, education, and you know just stuff and value, right?
Yeah.
So like you should go to CT Rio one time and like post in the morning or like going to CT Rio tonight. Who else is going? I got a mission tonight. My mission is to buy the owner Ron Faraci a drink.
Yeah.
You know, and so people will think it's funny and follow, right? So I did that one time. I went to meet Erin Stewart before she was mayor at one of her fundraisers when she was campaigning. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, my mission is to get a picture of her drinking a beer with me. Because I like politicians were afraid to drink more at that time. It's less it's less so now. And she was like, sure. And so we took a picture of us, you know, having a drink. And I posted it, and it was like super cool, and that was entertaining for people following me. And then she got elected; she became mayor, and you know, she's been mayor forever. And it's fun stuff, fun content. But just remember, not too much business. People tune out if you're all business. New listing. Thank you to my clients. Anyone looking to sell a house, that kind of stuff. Like it can't be more than 20%.
Got you. And that's why I started getting really good engagement at first when I first started, and then it just went down. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. So I got to get more active on that platform. I noticed when Shelby posted the ultrasound of the baby, like everyone and their mother came out of the woodworks, bro. That page thing has almost 200 likes. I was like blown away, and I was like,
So right after that, then you're like, anyone got a house for sale?
Yeah, right. Like anybody selling.
Because they're looking, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting.
Gotcha.
You have to get people to read your stuff and look forward to your posts and stuff. You know.
A lot of what we do, it's almost like we feel bad if we're not like doing something productive. But we're like shifting. We're trying to do more fun stuff together.
Yeah.
So what do you do now? Like to kind of, now that you've kind of experienced what it's like to balance, not balance, what do you do for fun?
What's fun for you?
What's like?
So very extroverted. I like to be around people. Yeah. So I'm a restaurant and bar guy. I like to go out with my friends to, restaurant, bars, very normal stuff.
Yeah.
I do a little more travel these days. I'll probably travel, for business 3 or 4 times, and then just because I want to 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
So pretty much. I don't travel during the summer, and I don't travel during December. I'll just give you that tip. Summer is awesome in Connecticut. Like the pools are good and the beaches are fun.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to travel out of Connecticut in the summer unless it's for business. And then December is when all the Christmas parties are. So there's no reason to travel in December.
Yeah.
So all the other months is where you fit in the travel.
Gotcha.
Interesting. Yeah.
At the Airbnb in New Hartford, I like to host parties there for my friends, like dinner parties. So my cousin likes to cook, and I usually buy the food, and he cooks, and we all hang out and have a good time. And, we can have a nice dinner party with like 30 people or so. Super fun.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm a fan of pools and boats.
Yeah.
I like the
You got
casino.
any boats?
So funny thing, I have had 5 boats come with houses.
Really?
Really?
And could you keep them all?
So, well, 4 of them I had to pay to get rid of.
Oh.
And then one of them was good enough that I still have. It's
Yeah.
a 15-foot Sea-Doo. And then my friend Tony, he's lived a boating life for most of his adult life, and he was generous enough to take me out often, all the time, and had a great time boating for a lot of years.
That's awesome.
So it's a good community, and
You fish?
it's pretty great. No,
Oh,
I don't.
man, okay.
I don't. They always ask me if I want to go fishing, but I get seasick when it's rocking, man.
Oh, really?
Ah.
I
can't
take
do
yeah.
it.
You take like what's the name of the name of the stuff? Oh, don't no.
Dramamine.
Dramamine. I take like a lot of that. I just like
Yeah.
I wing it, go for it.
I do.
No food, like
I do my fishing at Stop and Shop.
that's fair. I
Yeah.
don't blame you. Yeah, I used to. My family used to go out on the big like boats off the Clinton Shore. Well, not big boats. You can fit like 6 to 8 people. We'd all go fishing. But if I look at the water while the boat's moving, I'm done.
You're done?
I can't do it. I gotta like keep my head down, look at my phone, look at the boat. When it stops, I'm good. But if the water's moving and the boat's moving and I look at it, it's not gonna make it.
I don't know what fishing
So-
is for you, man. It's
No, it's not for me. I go when they ask me to go.
Gotcha.
I don't invite anybody to go. Like if I get asked, I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be great. But I'm not never in my mind am I like I'm gonna have a fishing trip today. Like
I love putting together events and
Yeah.
get-togethers and dinners and
That's cool. And
All
you
that
guys
kind of
also
stuff.
have a big house too.
What's that?
In a different state, don't you?
South
I see the
Carolina.
posts.
yes.
really?
That's the one Cyril and I
Yeah.
are in on together.
God.
So we go there once a year to vacation, so 1 week a year. So we went last year and the year before, so this September will be our 3rd one.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
And you Airbnb that out?
yeah, that's an Airbnb.
And so that is like out of curiosity, that's a big house. I think I've seen a picture of it on Facebook.
8,500 square feet.
Is it worth it to have a house? Because obviously your note must be pretty big to keep it. Is it worth it to Airbnb or do you like rent it out like in months period or how do you?
Weekly rental.
Really? If you don't mind me asking, what's the rate for a week?
12,000.
And are you full frequently?
So I don't even manage that one myself.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I would estimate during the on season we're pretty full.
Damn.
So and
12,000.
Serenity Wood is filling up pretty good this year too.
I can imagine.
I don't rent that one. I rent that one by as little as a day though, so it's not full.
What's the rate on that one? I'd love to go check it out.
So Serenity Wood is actually 12,000 a week also for a full week. A weekend night is 3,000, but I'll give you the whole weekend for 5,000, and then weekdays are cheaper.
Okay.
Man, that's an investment.
It's more than an Airbnb. Like an Airbnb is often where someone has to go to sleep because they need to be in the area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So the South Carolina house and New Hartford, those are places where you're going to like make memories.
Yeah.
That's not you're not going there to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are very impressive houses that your friends will remember and you're going to have a good time, and that's why they command a premium.
Okay, that makes sense. If you have a big party, like it's easier to like. If you have a big party, like it's more like affordable for like everyone to kind of get in and do it. So that's smart. And yeah, if you have 12, you said 12 acres and 2 acres is gated.
It's 62.5 acres,
Oh,
and 2 acres is fenced in, cleared for the yard with a pool in it and an outside bar.
Wow.
that's a lot. That's property, man.
And you do weddings.
You can have a wedding there.
I might take you
I've
up
done
on that.
I've done 4 so far.
Really?
I think if it's okay with you, I'll take you up on that because we ever trying to find like a venue that like we both like. And
Come
I
see
feel
it.
like she would love that.
Bring her up for a tour.
And it's
Really?
got the outside.
Can I do a tour over
Come,
there?
yeah. Why don't you guys come to that fundraiser on March 7th? Come early
Yeah.
because I'm going to be there early
Yeah.
and hang out, get a tour, hang out for the fundraiser.
Okay.
Have some food, some drinks. She's pregnant, right? So you got a designated driver. You can have some
Yeah.
drinks with me,
Yeah.
and come get a tour while you're doing the fundraiser. One trip.
Interesting.
That would be
It's like just under 30 minutes from here.
Huh.
Oh shit.
We're both in the market for vending.
Yeah, dude. Like this man too. Like he doesn't say it, but yeah, he's almost there. Like if she watches this podcast, pretend you didn't hear what I just said.
This was not for you, honey.
Yeah, like pretend you like mute yourself. Like,
come up for that fundraiser if you can. But I mean, you can have a tour even if you don't make the fundraiser, of course, anytime.
I think so. I looked at my calendar. I think we might have Rich Brown on the 7th at 6:00 for the podcast.
Yeah.
No, Rich Brown is coming to the event.
He's not coming to our podcast. We'll be there too.
Oh.
Rich Brown is coming to the event. I'm pretty sure. What? Text him, and,
let's
not right now, but text him and check.
Rich
Brown's supposed to be there. I think.
Let's all go. We'll
that'd be perfect. Well, that's perfect.
Yeah.
I would have felt really bad because he was trying to find a time, but yeah, that works.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. So I'd love to check it out.
You should. You'll make some good connections there.
How much is it again? He said
125.
Oh, that's not bad. That's cool.
Yep, and dinner and drinks, refreshments.
And included. Our women can come too.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Oh, so when you're doing the classes and stuff, you said it's $500 per person, and I guess there's no like husband and wife package or.
I haven't been, but I can. Like I can do whatever I want with them. So if you were like, I want to have a husband and wife or business partners come together, like I could do some kind of discount for most of the classes. They half of them fill up and half of them don't. The ones that don't fill up, no problem at all. The ones that fill up, I mean, I can take a little short. I mean. Yeah. If you do the math real quick, 500 a seat for 20 people is 10,000 gross.
Yeah.
And it's a single day of work for me, but it doesn't even feel like work.
Yeah.
My expenses for the day are 1,500.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's a pretty good day financially also.
Yeah.
It requires some planning and some work and some effort, and I'm, conveying as much as I can from a lifetime of knowledge in 8 hours.
Yeah.
That's cool. But there's also, so it's really good money for me, but there's no way that you're not learning something worth in excess of $500 that day.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Right? You got to take away something. I learned early on that if you could take away one thing, because a lot of people, they go into these, like, any event or like a class, and they try and like absorb everything. But if you can take away one thing that applies to you, like.
If you're free on Wednesday, the next class is this Wednesday. It's all day. It's vision building class.
Okay.
And it's, I still have a couple seats open. It's about as full as I wanted, but because that one shouldn't get all the way full because you run out of time. Yeah. But if you guys wanted to come,
do you have a calendar available to see what else you got?
No, it's the only one I have scheduled.
Keep us in mind for everything. We have the fundraiser for anything else. Like keep us in mind, especially the tax one. Like I in particular.
So I'll be doing a tax one in late April or May. I have to wait for tax season to be over for the accountant because he's the teacher.
That's fair. So. Yeah. Yeah, I would love to make Adam's life. Adam's our accountant, and make his life easier next year to like not call me yesterday.
Yeah.
That our book.
So that's not. I don't think that part is going to help with Adam. That's a lack of organization, probably.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's not what we're teaching there. So we're going to teach things that some of the things you may have to teach Adam.
Yeah.
If you bring this to something you learn there to Adam, be like, Adam, I want to do this as a tax avoidance strategy. Yeah. Adam will be like, oh, cool, let me look it up. Or maybe he'll already know about it, but didn't think of it for you. Because tax planners are not the same as accountants. They are accountants, but they're people are accountants. You give them your stuff, and they give you the best result they can. Tax planners tell you what to do in advance. Tax planning is something that most people don't do. Almost no one does. But wealthy people do. And tax planning is something that you should,
we got to get our taxes in particular. This year really made me open my eyes.
Did you owe a lot of taxes?
Huh?
Did you owe a lot of taxes?
I haven't filed yet. So this year I'm thinking I'm going to. So I did well with the business, our business, we technically we have a lot of expenses. But with on the Luke end on the Luke end with commissions, I did pretty well. So I still sold houses as well with my real estate license. So it's the best year of my life, I can tell you that. But I think we're gonna owe a pretty good chunk of change. Plus I don't want to write off below $120K because I still want to be able to buy a semi bigger house for the kids and stuff, preferably a raised ranch in the Bristol area.
All right, so don't guess that number.
Okay.
Talk to your lender before you talk to your accountant. So you ask your lender, what do I need to show to be able to buy? And then you take that information to your accountant.
And I did.
Make sure you do it in that order because not everybody does that. People forget.
I didn't take it to Adam yet, but I did ask Nate. I was like, how much do I need to buy to say I'll be able to afford a $375,000 house? And he's like, well, I sent him all my stuff, and I was like, if I made $120,000, would I be able to afford this house? And he's like, yes. So I was like, okay, cool. But I didn't take it to Adam, so I should probably do that and get that done.
That's it. Man,
I need to do that. Yeah.
A lot of people don't think about those things and doing them in that order. How many times have you come across someone who said, I want to buy a house, whether it's a multi or whether it's a single, right? I want to buy a house, and you're like, oh, that's great, like, what are you waiting for? It's like, oh, well, I'm saving money to buy a house.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard that?
Oh,
All the time.
that's the golden question. Yeah.
So the next time you ask, so the next question you should ask them if you want to like teach them something.
Yeah.
How much are you saving? Because nobody knows what you have to put down on a house unless you talk to the lender.
Yeah.
And even then, it depends on like what time of year you close, like what within the tax cycle and escrows and all that stuff. Like, but within reason, like most people have no idea. Like some people can go in for like 0 down with like a VA loan, and then there's 3.5% programs, 5% programs. Nobody's putting 20% down on anything, almost never.
Yeah.
If you ask people what they're saving, they're like, oh, I don't know, we're just saving. They never know.
Yeah.
Do you need $5,000, $10,000, $15,000? The house that you're going to buy that you have no idea, that you haven't seen it yet, did you ask them for seller concessions? No, you didn't, because you didn't make an offer. Seller concessions probably wipes out half of what you needed to save or more. It's a common like fallacy for people that are doing it the first time, or they just don't understand how to buy a house, and they're like, they just think they have to save up, and they're like, some of them throw out a number like $20,000, and they're like, oh well, my closing costs were, by the time they get there, their closing costs could be $20,000, but they got seller concessions for 10. And they oversaved by 10 grand, which isn't a bad thing. But what if it cost them 3, 4, 5 months?
Yeah.
And they should have bought earlier, or they missed out on the house of their dreams because they thought they weren't ready yet,
Huh.
It's that kind of thing. So if you can help out your friends that are saving for a house by saying, how much are you saving up? And when you figure out they don't know, because they never know, tell them to talk to a lender. The lender is the one who will tell you how much to save up.
That is, I am gonna tell our buddy Tyler. He's HR. He works with like his plane company. But every time I talk to him, like he's like, yeah, well, I'm gonna buy a house. I'm gonna save more money. I was like, well, I think you have enough because he makes good money. He invests like into the stock market. I know he has like $20,000-$30,000 like in his account, as of like last week. And I was like, why are you like, what are you waiting for? I was like, you're not gonna go buy like a $500,000-$600,000 house. Like, why don't you just go buy
And
yourself?
even if you are,
Yeah.
how much do you need?
He doesn't know.
I don't know. He doesn't know. You don't know. He's got to talk to a lender.
See, I sent
That's
him,
part of their job. They're gonna tell you.
misinformation.
They're gonna tell you, hey, you need roughly this much, And even then, like escrows will change it. Your insurance rate, your taxes, what time. If you close January 1st, it's a lot different than closing March 1st, 15th versus how much escrow you got. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then seller concessions is a big one.
It's a big one. My cousin's an investor. He's the one who got me into real estate as a whole. He once came to a closing for like this flip with like, I think he came to like $5,000 for a flip because he got like a wicked credit. He knew the lender. He got like loan. He got like 10% down for a flip. It was great. $5,000 for a flip. He put down. I was like, this is.
I mean, real estate can be done with no money. It's way easier with money.
Oh, of
But,
course,
I mean, I've done plenty of deals where I haven't had to put any money down.
yeah.
It happens.
Happens. Connections. And when you say no money, do you mean like just you have like people who are you partner with? Like
Yeah. Either I partnered or I borrowed the entire amount or I seller financed the entire amount.
Yeah.
I mean, something like that.
Gotcha.
It happens.
It's
I've bought subject to for 0 like 7 or 8 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is something. If you ever find the deal that you don't want, please keep us in mind for seller finance or subject to in particular or innovations. Keep us in mind.
Yeah.
But cool. But yeah, man. So, do you have
Last kind of personal question. In your water, was there salt in there? Or did you put something in it?
It's creatine.
Oh.
I have my creatine for you, Cam. I just got back from the gym. You take creatine?
Yeah.
Do you lift? Where do you lift?
Yeah. Edge.
Edge? Come to Powerhouse. Right in Middle Street, across from ESPN.
Yep,
We can get if you ever want to lift together, like I love the gym, so
Yeah. I go to Edge and I have creatine every day.
Gotcha.
for you.
Okay, so highly recommend. How much do you take?
1 scoop says on the side.
Yeah.
Sounds
so-
good. Really?
The spoon, just mix it in. I mix it in with orange juice. Just, yeah.
I work with a personal trainer and turned me onto it. It's like 5 years now.
Oh yeah. Are you on and off, or how does that?
No, I'm on straight through.
Really?
Yep.
Good for you.
Gotcha.
It's good. Good for muscle building too.
So they say, right? I mean, I've definitely improved in 5 years. I'm
Yeah.
in the best shape of my life.
It's good.
So
Hey, that's all that matters.
Gotcha.
Everyone has their goal, but yeah,
I'm still thinking about it, but okay. I've seen some people like put salt in their water, or they'll put.
I've heard sodium gets a bad rap.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not as bad for you as people think. Like it's too much, of course, of anything is not.
Oh,
good,
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've heard sodium is you know, it's okay.
It's not bad. And it's like the minerals and salt. Technically, your body like needs them.
Yeah.
So your body needs salt, some salt. Yeah.
Exactly. So like, there's like something called, I think it's called Celtic salt. They say if you put it in your water or you put it under your tongue before you drink your water, it's supposed to help you hydrate more. Or something like that. So I tried it when I was sick last month, and I don't know if I got better quicker or if I felt better.
I think it's because
something happened.
Anything under your tongue is absorbed in your bloodstream a lot quicker.
Immediately. Yeah.
That makes sense. That's interesting. Are there any like health tips that you've kind of implemented recently?
I mean, you know what? When you're working a lot, I mean, setting aside the time for the gym is like, you know,
essential.
And I set a lot of dietary goals. You have to when you're older. You know, I've sworn off some things for New Year's resolutions that that I like, but I know they're bad for me or not. They're bad for me not in moderation, and I know I'm just like gonna eat. Like, so pizza is one of them.
Yeah.
Beer is another.
Gotcha.
I don't drink any soda. No fast food. I cut these things out.
No fast food.
No fast food.
Damn.
No.
Good for you. Yeah.
I give myself one cheat day a month, and
Oh wow. Yeah.
So I'll use my cheat day almost every time for pizza, because I really miss pizza.
That's fair.
But I know that I'm able to stay in better shape because of it.
Yeah,
you know, try to make good dietary choices other than alcohol. I even cut down my drinking actually this year.
Good for you.
So,
Gotcha.
but I'm not quitting drinking.
That's fair.
But I'd give up beer for the carbs.
For the carbs, they add them in. I'm not a big drinking guy. I have my marijuana before I go to bed, and that's like helps me sleep. Because if not, I'm not sleeping. And that's something we talked about too. Just because like we need better sleep schedules. I'll just go to bed. Well, I like trying to get more done, and I'll get to like unproductive hours because you're doing stuff, you're not really being productive. But then I just like won't sleep. So I'm restless. So that's what I use for bed. But other than that, I try to like because I was like 19 through 20, I used to go hard. I used to like go to parties. I used to do stuff, and I was not in control of my drinking at the time, and I was like blackout every time. I'd be throwing up so much. So I was like, you know what, this sucks, and I decided to not do it anymore.
No, that's good. Some people don't figure that out as quickly. You know.
It's like, it makes you feel so bad. Oh, you wake up, you be sick for like a couple days after. And I was like...
Yeah, the recovery time is bad.
It's bad. And the one that did it is like, I was in New Britain for like a party, and I stayed the night. And this is a while, because I was with my ex, and I had to drive home with my buddy. And Mr. I can't call a ride or get an Uber, like decided, I was still throwing up, that he wanted me to drive him home. He was like, I gotta be somewhere. I was like, all right. I drove him home, and I had to pull over like 2 times to throw up. I was like, I'm never doing this again. And I was like, the last time I partied, I partied, but like last time I like drank heavily, last time I like did anything crazy was because of that. And I was like, Nick doesn't feel good anymore. So like,
no, it's good that you have control over that. You know, I mean, alcohol can ruin some people.
Right? It's tough.
Everyone's different.
Yeah, everyone's different. Like gambling addictions, any addictions, like
they're all different. Except for heroin. Like if you're doing heroin, like you're gonna get addicted, right?
Yeah.
There's no it's not like gambling where some people can do it and alcohol where some people can do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you get like it draws you in, and you need it to like function day to day. But cool.
Huh. It's interesting.
No, that's
I'm trying to
something else.
find things that like add to my diet. Just because, like, might as well start now. I've never done it. I've never like had alcohol or anything before, so I don't know what any of that is.
I have a good tip for you guys.
Oh, so you have 2 phones?
I do.
That is so smart.
My Fitness Pal. Do you guys use that?
I used to use
It's like a calorie counter app.
Yeah.
So if you use an app and put in what you eat and drink, what you consume. And you set it up so you know what you're supposed to be for calories for the day and this and that. Super useful tool. Definitely will change what you eat. When you're pushing up on your limit, you might not have like the extra slice of pizza, or you might not have more. Or if you have a lot of calories remaining, you might be like, okay, I'm good to eat a little more. Let me show you how many days in a row I've been entering my food. That's me. So 6-7.
1915.
Yeah, so
Jeez.
for 1,915 days in a row, I've entered everything I've eaten since I was introduced to it by my trainer.
Huh.
And it definitely has an effect on what you consume.
Interesting. So what is your like caloric goal daily? What do you can usually consume?
I think it's like 1950 or something like that, 1960, something like that.
That's not bad. That's good.
So Yeah, and it makes you want to work out harder to earn more calories, right? I want to get on that spin bike for an hour so I can have a cheeseburger, you know? Like,
right.
I feel like I got to earn it most days, you know?
So you pay for your food in a way. You pay with
Yeah.
you put in the work for your food.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Gotcha.
It's interesting. Yeah, I want to like cut down again. I just got back up to 200, so like I want to like push some more mass, build some more muscle, and then like I'll maybe like towards the end of the year I'll slim down again. See.
When you get older, it's just about not getting fat.
Yeah, that's like her. It gets as once you start to get in your 30s, it starts to like your metabolism slows down a little bit. You start to like you can't eat like shit like when you want to.
Yeah, I can't do what you do.
No, like
so
it gets tough.
It gets harder. Yeah, the best you can do is just try to be in the best shape you can. You know, I call it like dad bod plus. You know.
Yeah.
Dad bod.
Dad bod
plus.
plus. That's a good one.
Dad bod plus.
You know, I don't want to have like just dad bod. I want to be like a little better than dad bod, a little above.
Right.
You know,
Little stronger.
I'm good.
Not
gonna win any bodybuilding competitions, and I'm okay with that.
That's why I see it. I'm like, I'm not a pro, so like all these guys, like especially at my gym, they're always on stuff. Like, especially like these like 18, 19-year-old kids are like always on some sort of like stuff like SARMs. Have you heard of SARMs?
No, are they like steroids? Or?
Yeah, it's like synthetic steroids, stuff like that. A lot of people.
I don't feel like I need any steroids.
Right.
You know,
it's like you're not competing. What's the point? Why are you gonna like lower your natural test just to like look bigger for some people who also go to their gym to do the same thing?
And as soon as you're off of it, you like shrink down, right?
Exactly.
You have to stay on it if you want to be that size.
Yeah, you lose it. Then it messes up your test, and you get small nuts. Not for me.
I mean, that's what I heard.
That's what I heard. Yes, I'm not gonna do it. It's not for me. So
Is there anything coming up this year that you're maybe looking forward to, or you want to share about?
Yeah, so I'm working on this marijuana grow operation in Michigan.
That is really cool.
I was able in marijuana, you can't get a mortgage on a building for marijuana because it's still federally illegal. Banks won't lend on it.
Gotcha.
Or if they can, the rates are horrible. And if your tenant is marijuana, you still can't get a mortgage on it. So these guys were struggling. They're marijuana guys. They were struggling with how to put this project together. Yeah. Because they're not real estate guys, and I figured out how to acquire the real estate. So, we have this factory in Michigan, and we're working on it, looking to, we're selling rooms. So, like, it's a factory with lots of little rooms, and you're going to own a room within the factory, like a franchise. Every room is a franchise.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the marijuana is yours, and then I make money off of you, like 12 different ways. I charge you rent, I charge you for construction, utilities, I charge royalties on your sale for the security team.
Shit.
And so that's how I make money.
Interesting.
So I make money off of you, and you get the weed, and it's totally passive. You don't it's my grow team. It's my employees running the place. You don't have to go there. You don't have to harvest anything. You don't have to sell anything.
Yeah.
It's all done.
What got you into that? I'm just curious because like I use it like daily, but like just for bed. But like, what got you into like just like a weed growing plant?
So it was the most random thing. Like this guy reached out to me, kid, really.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, was that about 3 years ago, a little more.
Yeah.
On Bristol Talks, of all places.
Yeah.
And he's like, I recognize you're a local business person, and I wanted to take a shot. And I always have this mentality, to listen to people. So he's like, are you interested in would you be interested in marijuana like grow operation? And I'm like, no, not really. But I'm like, oh, listen to what you got. And he told me about it, and I'm like, oh, actually, that sounds kind of interesting. I'll hear more. And I ended up investing, and it was in Canada. So I own one of those rooms at the factory in Canada, and then the model turned out to be pretty brilliant, and so we're bringing it to the United States.
No shit. It's passive for you.
Well, it's not passive for me because I'm the one running it. The Canada one's passive.
Okay.
But the Michigan one will not be passive for me.
I
have to do some stuff there, but it'll be passive for the people that buy the rooms.
That is pretty cool. How much does it cost to buy a room?
$525,000. So you can chop it up though. Like I didn't have enough money for that room in Canada. I had to split it up.
Okay.
So I have 4 partners on that room.
Interesting. Can we grab the wholesale game? We buy a room, bro. Like that's interesting. I've always
it's lucrative.
Yeah, it's not like growing. There's finding like more benefits from. My dad used to be on my dad was military 24 years. From like the Gulf War, Desert Storm, Desert Shield. Drove tanks. This dude's seen a lot. His body's been through a lot too, and he's been like I think like 17 plus pills a day. Just to like reduce pain, like help his mind. He has PTSD. Yeah. Now he's on like 1 pill a day, and he smokes weed all day. He's happy as ever been. He meditates. Like,
that's awesome.
He's just a bliss, man.
He's to get rid of all that medication. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's 64, all because of weed. Medical marijuana. He's been smoking for years now. And it's truly helped him. Different strains. He works with his doctor. I've never seen the man this happy in my life. It's great.
No, that's awesome.
Right? so many benefits. So it really can change lives. So
Nice.
it's cool.
Yeah, man. If you want to hear about it later offline, I'd be
Yeah.
happy to share.
Let's do it. That sounds good. But yeah, besides that, so Dave, thank you for joining us. Your socials will be linked below. Any final like quotes of the day, final words of the pod?
You know what? The quote of the day today, I posted it early, is "Never bet against America" by Warren Buffett.
That's a fact.
Yep. So thanks for having me, though. Appreciate it. It's been fun.
Thank you.
Hope you guys learned some stuff, and
Oh my God, we learned so much.
And,
We learned so much. So
hopefully some people listening, if they ever, if you ever need me for something or interested in a class or Airbnb by Mohegan or Foxwoods or, wanting to have a party, a birthday party of significance or a bachelorette party.
yeah.
Emergency housing, if your house catches on fire and you need a place to stay for an unknown amount of time, I have that. A work crew, contract crew. I have all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
So
We're the only Airbnb hosts that hosts parties, that allows parties.
yeah, I'm like 99% plus do not allow parties,
Yeah.
and like out of mine, like most of mine don't either. But if it's that one does,
Cool.
Yeah. You got it.
yeah.
So cool. But yeah, thank you for having us on, man. This is episode 12 of the AstraCAST. Thank you all for joining us. And yeah, stay tuned for some more content coming up and some more great interviews.
Cool.
Have a good day, guys.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Cool.